Welcome to another one of these videos. Actually, let me reset a few things real quick. I noticed that we have our goals aren't properly reset right here. Let me just try out a little bit of cool, we're good. Awesome. Thank you.
Invoicing Emu super chatted $2. Happy 100K. Looks at title shit, here we go again.
Yeah, no. Thank you so much for the 1000K celebration. And sorry for the momentary scuff as we started up. But no, thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate it. It's been 100,000 subscribers. And here I came, going to celebrate, talk about what an accomplishment that was. I have my phone. Let me adjust my camera slightly. It feels like a little too high up there. Oops, sorry. I got my, hang on. Whatever. I'll figure it out. We have our, I have my phone ready in case my spouse tells me that her water broke, so I can jump if that needs to be. But for the most part, we're going to be talking about some nonsense.
Nick Wolf super chatted $2. Sees thumbnail. Get behind me, Satan. Shake fist.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. You know, it's wild. Really, it is. Because early this year, one of the bigger controversies of the internet involved ILoveKimPossible And earlier this week, there was some drama involving, well, earlier this month, really, there was some drama involving a certain selection of anime lads, one might say. And it's funny because both of them issued an apology this week. And I was working, in this Friday's video, by the way, I scrapped the original idea I had for it because I want to focus on a different topic. You'll see what it is when you get there. But I will say it's timely. This happens.
Kate Cast Reviews super chatted $1.99. Congrats on 100K subs. Well earned.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I honestly, it's wild thinking of this because, like, when I first started, not even like 2 years ago, it was back in the day before New Year's Eve, 2023, that my first upload was. And since then, we've been doing so much here. It's been pretty wild. It's pretty incredible knowing how many people are still watching the channel. Oh, hey, Hato, how's it going? Yeah, we're talking shit today. Come on in. You're going to love this. Hato in comments, you've had personal gripes with KP in the past. KP has kind of made your life personally extremely frustrating. And so I think I have to go on two topics here. Because on one hand, we have the obvious stuff, the SaberSpark stuff. But we also have my personal bias against KP. Because those of you who don't remember, I have some personal beef with KP. I'm going to bring it all back up again today and discuss it. Now, Hato in particular, so let me take a few steps back. And let's go back to the elephant in the room, which is KP's entire online presence in the current day. And let me just see how much of the screen gets swallowed. Oh, King Yameshi's streaming. That's pretty cool. I was laughing at this is totally random. I was laughing at Kinky Mation recently because Wave, who has edited a bunch of my videos, created a challenge, a Gulp Shitto challenge for Kinky Mation to do. Gulp Shittos, of course, those who don't know, they're the Star Wars characters in the backgrounds are like just random nobodies and weird aliens. And
Raptor4Eel super chatted $4.99. On an unrelated note, your last name sounds like the name of an evil witch. Love your content, though.
I can't imagine why my name sounds like an evil witch. You didn't know. Who have you been talking to? Which do we have to start? I'm kidding. I was going to make a stupid joke, but it wasn't working out. No, I thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I was going to make a whole, like, role play for a second as if I were an evil witch or something like that, which, you know, wild thing to assume. Anyway, so Gulp Shittos, they're like the minor alien characters. And I might show it later for fun, but basically Kinky was, like, going through the whole thing of a video of, like, 30 different Gulp Shittos and trying to guess is this character with this name? He Wave would flash a Star Wars character on screen and put a name on screen, and the joke would be, is this what this character's name really is? She'd have to guess. It was pretty funny. I might do that another time. I might drag another friend of mine through that. But anyway, I Love Kim Possible a lot is a long-time YouTuber, mainly from the MLP days, where, of course, like every single person in the art commentary community, she ran up against Lily Orchard, or rather was good friends with Lily Orchard until such a time it became inconvenient for her to stay friends with Lily Orchard. But I actually knew KP for a little bit. We were, I don't want to say on good terms, but we were talking a little bit on different Discords and what have you. And she tried at one point to collaborate with me on a project. Said project never got off the ground, and I made it clear as such that, hey, this project never worked out, this, that, and the third. But she asked me at one point to read some lines for her from some forum post of some kind. And I read them, kind of going through them, and like, oh, this is nothing important. I didn't think much of it. She told me the context to the extent that it was for some video she was working on, but that was about it. And I had no reason to think otherwise. Turned out that video she was working on that she left out some major context about turned out to be a big SaberSpark expose. And she also asked Sai, too, who's I can see in the comments right now. Yeah, no. So, what ends up happening is she releases this big expose and completely burns any of her reputation she might have left. Now, I am going to play the expose bit right now, but I do want to, before I do that, I want to point out my beef. So I mentioned that KP and I had a collaboration, but it fell through. It just didn't work out. For one reason or another, even though it was mostly me doing all the legwork and KP kind of like sitting back and doing nothing, it was one of those class projects where one student does all the work and the other student does none of the work. You know what I'm talking about? So what ends up happening is I mentioned casually, hey, KP and I are going to collaborate and it doesn't work out. And KP got extremely angry, extremely upset, and decided to try throwing me under the bus because for the egregious sin of talking about an incomplete project without getting her permission, as though somehow she was the only person who needed to confirm what was going on, as though I had to get her confirmation or permission to talk about these topics. And so at this time, KP was friends with two people who would be a thorn in my side for a while since. One of them being Lyle Convoy, who thankfully has a very minimal role in the story. We won't have to go into him too much right now. And the other was Courtney Pete, the sister of Lily Orchard. And Courtney was extremely venomous towards me because she felt like I had not done enough to defame her more famous, terrible sister. For many reasons, of course. Now, so what Kim did was she used Courtney to get to me out of a pettiness for talking about a project that didn't get completed yet. And what KP managed to do, and she sent Lyle Convoy to be a ass pain to me too, which, whatever. But, what ends up happening is I look into KP's story and I find a lot more going on. Now, I already knew about Hato's story. Well, Hato, you were formerly in Lily Orchard's Discord. You were formerly a fan of Lily Orchard, and KP was harassing
KJ
you.
Zana super chatted $2. Tim Burton's Corpse Bride is now 20 years old.
Thank you for making me feel ancient. I remember when Corpse Bride came out, and I was like, "Oh, this is a knockoff of A Nightmare Before Christmas." I'm like, there you go. So KP was causing a lot of harm for Hato and trying to badmouth Hato, who was just a fan, who was just a normal person. It was completely unfair to Hato, and it sucks. It really does suck. And I really feel bad for what happened there. But so KP was harassing a small fan, relatively speaking, because she could. And at this time, KP was at probably not the height of her popularity, but she had like at least 30,000 more subs than she does now. Okay, so yeah, Hato is once confirmed. Hato has not been affiliated with Lily Orchard for at least a year, if not more, and in fact was very critical of Lily in the years since. That's important to note. Hato is a success story of what it means to divest yourself away from a toxic person. And you deserve, whatever you're doing right now, if you're comfortable and relaxed, that's what matters.
Gabe the GM super chatted $2.70. Back from my holiday in Bergerac and ready for drama.
Oh, don't worry. The drama is about to be seeping wet here. Was KP Backseater? No, Backseater is his own entity. Backseater's a nobody. KP actually was very involved in the art commentary community. Again, like everyone else in the art commentary community, she had Lyle Convoy on speed dial. I don't know how this guy is like involved with every single story I hear. Like every single person I know is involved with Lyle Convoy at some point or another. It's ridiculous. But anyway, she was involved with the My Little Pony community, including Lily Orchard and, most relevant here, SaberSpark. Now, sorry.
Bluebow 501 super chatted $1.99. Listening while I pack an Annie gift for my BF greater than.
Oh, hell yeah. That's awesome. Hope you have a good time with that. Hopefully this doesn't bore you too much. Now, to get a refresher on the story involving SaberSpark, I'm going to play Cartoon Cheese video on the topic. We're already on to a great start when these icons emerge. What we got here? 1 second.
Josh does a thing super chatted $5. I actually went to college with KP.
Oh!
She was just as unpleasant as you'd think.
Oh God, I can imagine. I heard she's like a big stoner too. I've heard that, which isn't that's not a problem. You know, that's cool. But I've heard that she's like high for a lot of the conversations people had with her when they were like interviewing her for all the drama stuff here, which is interesting to say the least. Yeah, she just sounds like an unpleasant person, very entitled. Whenever I interacted with her previously, it was only for her to basically sell some project she was working on. She even convinced me to actually, what I like to do with friends on the channel is when they make a piece of content that comes out or they put out a new video, I'll like to, signal it. I can't do it with every project my friends do, but I like to signal a few of them if they're like, you can use a boost, what have you. So I did a couple for KP as well. And it was after KP, who turned out to be a backstabber, I kind of shied away from doing that more frequently. Yeah, KP did an interview with John Delaney, of course. John DeLance, I'm sorry, not John Delaney. Very noteworthy, KP does not pay her editors. And they are all volunteers. Her contract, we read it on stream a few months ago. Her contracts for editors were absurd. And they were insanely restrictive. Insanely, you had to like follow a certain schedule. And again, unpaid. You had to attend various meetings. You had to produce content every week on the dot. And it was like all unpaid volunteer work. And as someone who's been working with editors more and more, especially because I have a kid who's about to be born, and I want to make sure I have someone who can help me with produce videos so you guys don't miss a week, you need to pay your editors. Editors are the backblood of your entire work. And your editors, their time is valuable. They might be working with multiple different clients. Recently there was some. I know, for example, Wave, who I've worked with a lot, he's having a lot of obligations with Kinkimation, and the next couple of videos will be done by other editors, who I trust, who are all recommended to me. Actually, Wave and Manga Common actually recommended a bunch of people who apparently were really talented, and I reached out to them, and I'm both working with them, and they're both really cool. So yeah, all good stuff. Anyway, I'm delaying the point. Let's remind ourselves what happened with KP and get away from this trigger warning right here.
Myself with the John Stewart of the YouTube animation community, I call things out when I feel like I can add something to the conversation.
I don't want to be alive anymore.
If memory serves, there's also a nude version.
That's disgusting.
And for the record, I assume Chris knew he was being recorded because it was a call about safety. It only gets worse from here.
If you're going out with someone your own age, you can't take advantage of them.
For some reason, people think I'm unqualified to do this.
I think they might have been onto something.
Hello, Sluckers. Welcome.
Oh, we got here?
Goldsbro TSG super chatted $20.
Oh, thank you so
Not to
much.
derail the drama, but wanted to give back for the several boring work days you have saved me from.
Oh, thank you so much.
Also, if this means anything, your video on Mueller is why I will never be off his ass.
Yeah.
Have a good stream.
No, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm glad I was able to help bring some joy to those days.
Bylonic super chatted $4.99. Can't believe you can demand so much from non-paid volunteers. That's insane.
100%. Okay, I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna pause super chats real quick. If you want to leave them, you can absolutely. I will never say no super chats, but I'm gonna pause them temporarily just to get through some of this video. And whatever you leave will be played when we unpause them, probably in the middle somewhere of this video.
Welcome back to Slop Live. Have you ever wondered what would happen if an animation critic took on the opportunity to expose serious predator allegations and just didn't know how to switch off of internet funny man mode? Well, that's what we've got here today, because as of last night, as of writing this video, the creator known as ILoveKimPossible took on
How many? Oh yeah, okay. She's been down a lot since then.
on the daunting task of exposing two very large YouTube creators in the same 2-hour video and alleging some very serious allegations against both, and proceeded to completely fall flat on her face and ass simultaneously by not treating the subject with any amount of respect. The creators being accused are DA Games, most famous for his original songs based off of video games such as Five Nights at Freddy's, Bendy and the Ink Machine, so on and so forth, and SaberSpark, one of the most popular channels in the YouTube cartoon community and the strongest gooner of today. The gist of it is that DA Games is being accused of preying on a minor with a lot of receipts and evidence, regardless of their potential validity, and SaberSpark is being accused of sexually assaulting someone 12 years ago with a single twit longer that was posted by a third party. Now in this video,
Oh god, I forgot about Bonk. I forgot Bonk existed. Oh, Bonk. Oh god, that creepy, strange person.
I'm not going to go into the validity of the claims themselves, because I'm not really in a position to do that, and I think most of us watching can agree that victims should have their stories heard out and should be supported, and if possible not completely writing someone off as a rapist based on hearsay and no concrete evidence, because what I actually want to focus.
So again, just a reminder, where this story ended up, Bonk, the person who was pushing for all these allegations, turned out to be completely insane, bad-mouthing every single critic of his alleged journalism. He did something. He got his account taken away from him and then got the account back. He's basically irrelevant now, but he's pretty out of his mind. To put it mildly. I remember when it was going on, because I actually spoke to all the investigative parties around this story as it was happening. So I talked to Beckett from Cope and Seed, I talked to Mr. Enter, I talked to Lazy Bedhead, and all of them have released videos on the topic that very thoroughly respond to the minutia of the case. That's not as important to what we're going to be talking about right now, but all of them agreed that Bonk was absolutely out of his mind. I think Beckett was way more sympathetic towards KP than I would have been, but still, at the same time, the actual events of the case, SaberSpark turned out to actually not have done anything wrong. He was completely exonerated thanks to him going through old phones and devices and poking holes through the accuser, who happened to be a YouTuber herself named Emu Emmy, poked holes in the story and proved his innocence. And while it's impossible to ever say with 100% certainty that anyone is exonerated, SaberSpark is pretty much exonerated. It was a case where, if anything, I'd argue, it sounds like Emmy pressured him into a situation. We'll get into the specifics later because KP will bring it up, but essentially SaberSpark and Emu Emmy entered into a kind of a friends with benefits relationship that was consensual. In fact, Emu Emmy offered enthusiastic consent, and arguably Emu Emmy maybe tried to baby trap Saber into a longer relationship. That by maybe being misleading about whether or not she was on birth control while having intercourse, which is heinous. And that is relevant to later, because you're going to see KP respond to that particular element of the story. Anyway.
On is the absolute state of the video containing all this information, how it is pretty much the textbook definition of how not to do.
Oh wow, more people are watching this stream than they were watching the premiere for the original video. That's pretty wild, actually.
An exposed video with serious topic.
And yes, she did do that with Emu Emmy. Emu Emmy did do that with Saber. That's discussed in the second Beckett video. They go into that. And I believe Mr. Enter responds to that as well in his follow-up video. So all of that is relevant. But those are the facts of the case. I'm not going into opinions yet, which I will share. And since we've been here for so long, let me play some super chats real quick.
Crimson Vision super chatted $1.99. The one good British.
Cartoon She? Yeah, I guess so. I can think of a few other ones too. That
Aaron
cool.
Alpha Eagle super chatted $7.05.
Thank you so much.
Just a day after I resubscribed to SaberSpark.
Yeah, I know, right? It's good to be subscribed to SaberSpark. He does some good stuff, and he goons a lot too.
Charles Hall super chatted $5. Back in the MLP days?
Back
Keep
in
it
the-
up, buddy, and it's in the jar.
Yeah, seriously.
Coer Series super chatted $5. I want to make YT vids, but it's intimidating, so much to do. Not paying an editor seems absolutely miserly and unappreciative to those doing the work.
I agree. It's really awful. I honestly hated seeing her do that to her editors. And I've spoken to a couple since then, and it really sucks what they went through. I would say it's abusive behavior entirely. And she was extremely cruel to some of her volunteers who, again, were not being paid and threw them under the bus. You see, one thing that KP does is when pressured, she will throw someone else under the bus. For example, during the whole situation with the Emu Emmy thing, she was basically sending threatening messages to Emu Emmy, essentially. Threatening her, pressuring her to come forward and come clean about everything. Even though both her and Courtney Pete edited Emily's
Mayoral
statement
Fabrication
to make it
super
worse.
chatted $2. I discovered Yout Chanel a week ago. Good content, okay sign.
Thank you. I'm glad you like my Chanel. I'm sorry. I love typos in voice to text. I know what you're saying. It's all good, but I do. But the typos sometimes enrich the message so much. I love that. That's great. Yeah. Oh, it always leads back to jar. Hell, Friday's video involves jar. It's crazy. Adrian Parchment, thank you for being a member for 2 months. Happy 100K and future Daddy Day. Future Daddy Day is coming. It's going to be wild. I'm going to pause alerts right now. Let's get back to the video at hand.
This is, without exaggeration, one of the worst videos I've seen on this platform. I am not being
Is that
hyperbolic.
DA Games? I actually never knew what he looked like.
I am not being dramatic. I have seen a lot of terrible exposed videos before, and this is genuinely a contender for the absolute worst. And it shows just how badly a situation and a victim's accusations can be affected when being poorly handled by dipshit YouTubers who care more about entertaining people and clout chasing than actually spreading awareness. Let's just
Because undeniably, KP was clout chasing and being entertaining with her bullshit. Again, it's not about making jokes. You can make jokes in a serious discussion. I remember when Lazy put out their video, Lazy was saying, basically they were saying like, oh, I make a lot of jokes in my videos, but this felt different. Do I hold back making jokes in my videos as a result of this? But no, you don't need to. The problem is the jokes are never aimed right. The jokes often feel irrelevant to the topic at hand. It's not meant to relieve tension. They just feel kind of at expense of the innocent people involved, or it feels random, or it doesn't communicate a message with the humor. Humor should tell a story with the rest of the story. You know what I'm saying? You got to ask yourself, what is the humor's point in this part of the video? What does it accomplish? What does it do? And if you don't do it correctly, what you end up doing is producing a video where the humor detracts from the ideas you're trying to tell. And that's a bad idea, Anyway, back to this.
Let's dive right in. This video's tone is fucking rancid. Despite the incredibly serious subject matter that should be handled with the utmost care and respect, ILoveKimPossible who I will be referring to as KP for the rest of this video because Jesus Christ, what a name, doesn't really seem to give a shit because this video is absolutely chock full of painfully unfunny reaction memes, poor taste jokes, and painfully unfunny sketch comedy that completely obliterates the tone and seriousness of the video and inherently devalues the allegations and how seriously people should take them. Here's a short compilation.
Welcome to another segment of Maybe the Internet Was a Big Fucking Mistake.
Big mistake.
Imagine consequences for your actions. Part 2. Will Ryan is a textbook pedo and probably very unstable person. Sorry, yo. Then child grooming is bad, right?
Well, no shit.
Guess you can be Jerry Seinfeld, who dated a 17-year-old when he was 38.
A Seinfeld joke in 2025. Really cutting edge there, KP.
And she's also 17.
Bold and beautiful.
She's so young, she doesn't realize I'm a predator.
Because you don't want to go to college is just shitty and selfish.
Oh, you are just the worst type of person.
Nothing happened.
Oh, yeah, no. It's just, ugh.
Cool.
Oh, there's a big surprise! I've come to make an announcement!
Oh, God, this right here is so frustrating. She stole the... This gag was a cosplayer making fun of the famous, Sonic fan dub meme with the Eggman pissing on the moon thing. It was a cosplayer's who was stolen without his consent. It's fucking ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And the thing about these jokes is that none of them are funny. Not a single one of them are funny. The best joke is the one she stole from someone else that itself was a tribute to a much better joke. Oh yeah. Tunchi was pissed. I actually spoke to Tunchi very briefly at one point, and it was like, yeah, no, it seemed about right. No, so yeah.
Shadow the Hedgehog is a bitch-ass motherfucker! He pissed on my wife, that's right! He said his stick was
Yeah.
And that's just scratching the surface. When it comes to allegations that are this serious, treating your exposed video like an episode of Seinfeld is probably the worst choice you could possibly make.
100%.
It's an insult to the victims, it's an insult to the audience's intelligence, and it all reflects poorly on you. KP responded to these critiques shortly after taking the video down by claiming, Guys, this is my first time actually covering a topic of this nature, so sorry if I handled it poorly, which is a complete lie because they already made a video about Lily Orchard which covered these same topics and was handled with far more care than this. And then there's also
I also think it's very funny because I will say this too. Again, I'm biased because I really don't like this person from personal experience with her. But she's entirely a clout chaser. I can tell you that from private experience with her. She's entirely a clout chaser. She's entirely a schoolyard bully in her mentality. She doesn't actually... She is just as old as I am and acts like a mean girl from high school. That's what she's like. She's incredibly fake. She only shows up to promote her work, and then that's it. And the moment you're no longer of use to her, she'll throw you under the bus and badmouth you to everyone who will listen. But she thinks she's a super big deal, but I want to point out something right here.
which is a complete lie because they already made a video about Lily Orchard.
Now, her Lily Orchard video is her most successful video on her channel. I think even right now, let's take a look. Okay, 1 million. Okay, it's the most popular in the last 5 years, essentially. But, anyway, and yes, I did already watch KP's video at first to see if there's anything useful about it or good about it. Trust me, there's a lot to mine in it. But, anyway, her video isn't even that successful, looking at it right now. When I first got on YouTube and first started talking about Lily Orchard, it felt like this was a big deal. Like, this video was a massive success. And it was one of the first videos to talk about the accusations against Lily Orchard from a serious perspective. I do find it ironic that certain other big cats in the art CC community were given, supposedly, information about Lily Orchard, though it wasn't credible yet. But then, you know, I digress. Again, that's hindsight's 2020. I can't hold anyone against that. But yeah, no. So her first big expose was on Lily Orchard, that apparently was going to include lots and lots of humor, but her editors basically had to beg her not to include these same jokes, to treat the topic with some level of maturity. She did not have that same level of maturity when dealing with allegations of assault, but I digress. Okay, playing some super chats right now, because I saw a few come in.
Jack Thor so super chatted $5. I'm not the biggest fan of Beckett after the crap he pulled with Psy, but I do appreciate what he was able to do for the situation.
Regardless of your feelings on Beckett, he did uncover a lot of information, and that's important, and that deserves credit.
Adrian Parkman super chatted $4.99. She tried the same tactic with an ex-editor she had who is working with VivziePop currently.
I've heard about that too. It's horrendous. She's just a bully, ultimately. That's the problem with her.
Otterly Noah super
Hey, what's
chatted
up?
$10. Somehow even the anime men made a by default better response video to a disrespectful video than Kim ever could. What a world we live in. Looking forward to seeing you tackle that mess on Friday as well.
Yes, so I guess oddly Noah's I'm kidding, I'll say it at the end. 1 second.
Fred Skull super chatted $1.99. Yay, the newest EP of Terminally Online Theater.
Oh yeah, this is terminally online entirely.
Bylonic super chatted $1.99. Funny cause KP was the petty one of the two.
Oh, certainly extremely petty. Yeah.
Stingertopia super chatted $5. My god, how does she expect people to take her seriously if she keeps throwing in jokes?
Oh yeah.
Especially in an exposed video.
100%. It's a massive issue.
Sai super chatted $5. A certain big cat says your AP do if you read Lily Orchard Stockholm, but Stockholm also wasn't enough to go after Lily for.
It makes no sense because it makes no sense.
Kuro-chan super chatted $2. Thanks for informative anti-grift content. Yuri tax less than 3.
I'm down for that. I'm down for Yuri tax. By the way, yes, oddly Noah did say, because I told him, but Friday's video is going to be about the YouTube apologies specifically. And so it was initially inspired by the Anime Man apology, which I have very complicated feelings about. But then this happened, and it's going to go into video too.
Super chatted $1.99. Been watching 7x7 anime.
Oh yeah, awesome. Hope you enjoy it. Yeah, no, the YouTube apology video is going to be a little complex. I will say this, Noah. I think you and I have different perspectives of the Anime apology, but I think you'll appreciate where I'm coming from anyway with it, because I put it in context of the conversation around apology videos in general as content, which I think is interesting. And in regards, honestly, the Anime Men are a class act compared to KP, because, oh my god, this has got to be the actual worst apology I've seen in a very long time. Like, ukulele level apology levels. The fact that KP felt compelled to put this out after months of silence about... Oh, not silence. She was talking nonstop to Beckett and to Mr. Enter and all that. The fact that she put this out after months, you will see, it is baffling. Truly baffling that she ever thought this was an appropriate thing to put out. And don't worry, KP, if you delete the video, I saved it already. Because the moment I got home from work, I knew there was only a matter of time before you privated it, and I needed that video for my video on Friday. So, hope you enjoy that. We're going to immortalize this as best we can. Anyway, back to this video,
which covered these same topics and was handled with far more care than this. And then there's also the fact that you're a grown-ass woman and you should know better than to treat your Predator exposed video like a meme compilation. I have no idea what compelled KP to treat the situation as unseriously as she did, while pretending she was taking it seriously. And this extends to her activity outside of this video. What some people don't know is that the presentation of this video wasn't some massive oversight. It was a direct result of KP's ego being so inflated that she deluded herself into thinking she was the main character. On her Twitter, she has been hyping this video up for weeks. You heard that right. Hyping it up. Hyping up a video about serious allegations that don't even affect her because I guess she just thought it was funny. Dawn of the first day, 72 hours remain. Time to kick some pedo and rapist ass tomorrow, smiley face. Yes, your honor, please draw your attention to the YouTube poop I uploaded last week. What other reason is there for this that's somehow more charitable than you finding it funny? Because that's bad enough on its own. The only other alternative is that the entire time you were making this video, you were rubbing your hands together like a cartoon villain and fantasizing about how much clout you were gonna get from taking down 2 channels of over 1 million subs and beating down on predators. I like to believe in the best in people, and personally I think the best I can see in you is that you just found the entire situation hilarious. But I'll leave any other interpretation up to the public, I guess. This shit is so f***ing cringe, Jesus Christ, there should be an award for being this tactless. It's expose week, just call me Moses cause I'm about to bring down some plagues. And then she attaches some fan art a person drew of her where she's portrayed as Moses holding up the Discord commandments. Stop hyping up a video about predator allegations, you fucking buffoon. You are not Kendrick Lamar. And we're still not—
And that's the thing too, like, why hype up an expose video like this? Like, why? Why do that? And again, it's impossible. Cartoonchi's gonna mention Courtney Pete's role in this all too. Don't worry, that's relevant as well, because Courtney has not been able to shut up about everyone that has pissed her off for years, so I highly expect Courtney to have a massive perpetual temper tantrum about KP doing this publicly. That's gonna be fun. God, Courtney is such a fucking mess. Wow. Anyway, point of the matter is, she hyped up And again, the specifics of the case have fallen into the memory hole of the internet a little bit. So you might forget, she hyped up an expose video about DA Games and SaberSpark, despite the fact that the original concept of the video had nothing to do with SaberSpark or DA Games. It had to do with some guy named Chris, who told a really, really off-color joke about KP, which again, it's a bad joke, it's inappropriate, it is sexual harassment. However, but she frames it in the video as if it was not a joke, but something that actually happened. You had to dig into the full interview of the event, which, by the way, she tried to hide by deleting the video and didn't repost the link for the full interview. You had to look for the link to find out KP was just recontextualizing, knew it was a joke, but framed it as something that really happened anyway in the video proper. So right there, highly manipulative behavior to get back at someone who told a very inappropriate joke about her years prior. I get inappropriate jokes made about me all the time, sometimes in my comment section. But I don't track them down to their employers and try to get them fired. I think that's a step too far. And she does it here too. Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, she does it to you too. So it's certainly a pattern of behavior. And when she ended up having the accusations about SaberSpark dropped on her lap by Bonk, by the way, Emmy went to Bonk first, and then Bonk redirected her to KP. KP then slotted in the accusations into a video she was already making a month before it came out. A lot of us were contacted, and I feel bad for Kyla Says too. By the way, as a shout out to Kyla Says, great channel. She and I have talked a bit. She's really cool. Just was asked to read a bunch of lines for this video, no context, like with me. And it was really awful and stupid, and I couldn't stand it. I feel really bad for everyone who had to read lines, who wasn't given the context needed to read it. Poor Lazy Bedhead got like really screwed because they trusted KP and Courtney because they're just a really nice, trusting person. I think the problem is they were too trusting. And Lazy said this too. Everyone said this too. It's in hindsight's 2020 again, but it stinks because when you trust people online, they can use and abuse you. I was just seeing on Blue Sky, I was seeing little Karibo actually talking about that too. How people, you get successful, you're trusting, you're a nice person, and people just try to take advantage of that for their own personal gain. It sucks. It's really terrible. Anyway. So let's have some super chats play.
Graceful EG super chatted $5. KP offered me an animation job, obviously unpaid, 6 years ago. I respectfully turned it down. Glad I dodged a bullet.
You dodged
Lol.
a bullet there, my friend. Seriously.
Sam last name super chatted $4.99. What are your thoughts on it? Veronica Taylor's B Street Roll.
That's fair, I guess. I'm not sure what you're talking about there. I'm sorry.
Invoicing Emu super chatted $2. It's an apology VISEO? GODTHIS is gonna be so bad.
You have no idea. And if KP deletes it, I save the video.
Lauralock super chatted $1.99. Toxic KP train, sad ukulele noises.
Oh, you have no idea, y'all. You have no idea. If you haven't seen it yet, it's a lot. We'll get there. Just getting background on the case before we get to the thing itself. To build tension up. Oh, 7x7. Oh, I see.
Sam last name super chatted $1.99. 7x7.
I don't have any thoughts really on it, to be honest with you. Anyway, let's get started. Okay, pause supers again. Let's continue.
Done when it comes to her complete lack of tact with the situation, KP managed to get a good few people to provide their voices to narrate certain parts of the video, with some people you might actually recognize, like June the King, for example. However, it's become very clear that KP was very likely not honest.
June the King's the only one where I'm like, you read a lot of the video. Like, you read a big quote. There's no way you couldn't figure out the context based on that. Everyone else's quote was like, kind of like, oh, well, I don't know what the context of this is. Kind of weird, but like, that's the one we should have been like, hey, what's this about actually? Also, KP has always been bitter because June asked, what's her name, Britt, as opposed to her or Courtney to talk about Lily Orchard in the Lily Orchard video, which is in and of itself wild. And again, it's a whole big bunch of drama. The whole Lily Orchard critical community is a bunch of various accounts who all have different interactions with Lily Orchard. I myself see myself as just kind of like a guy who fought with Lily Orchard over media takes, and that's about it. There are people who have been directly hurt by Lily, and that's very important. But KP wanted to be Mrs. I'm the expert on Lily Orchard because I was friends with her and this, that, and the third. While Britt had for years, I think at this point, been trying to crusade against Lily Orchard. And intimately knew all the ins and outs, while KP kind of stood by Lily for a very long period of time. I mean, June didn't ask me to do anything, so I don't care, you know? Oh, Britt were friends too. Britt were also friends with Lily. I'm sorry, yeah. So Britt was a former friend of Lily and had spent many years crusading against her. Sorry, but I got the timeline mixed up there. You know, myself, Sai, Krim, We Are Not Alive. Now also a few other channels have gotten into the act too. All criticizing from a media perspective because that's how Lily got people into her fold through her videos, you know? If you discredit the videos, she loses the access to get new people into her circle to hurt them. That's the pipeline, essentially. I was very mindful of that pipeline with Lily Orchard. KP saw it as a way to get popular. 7 of 7. Let me play some super chats real quick. A few came in.
Adrian Parkman super chatted $1.99. Has there been any good apology video?
Yeah, there have been a few. A couple here and there.
Sam last name super chatted $1.99. 7 of 7 I meant. Sorry.
There you go. It's all good. You know, I think a good apology would be Manga Kamen's recent apology, I think Manga Kamen had a really good apology because he was tangibly involved with some drama recently with the RCC, and you know, very tangibly, but he felt really guilty about it. He's had a lot of... I've talked to Manga a few times. He really is aware that he had fallen in with a rough crowd and is trying to pull himself out of that. So I have a lot of respect for him in that, you know. Yeah, Manga's a good guy. I like Manga a lot. It's funny. It's very funny because, like, early on, Manga and I were, like, pitted against each other by and we've talked with this since then. We were kind of pitted against each other because of the internet algorithm, you know? The way it always works, like, oh, one side fights the other. But then we actually stopped and talked to each other, like, well, why are we arguing? Like, we've never talked before, really. But the internet made us want to feel like we had to fight each other. It's unfortunate. It really is. It's a funny thing about the internet where you will sometimes be forced to argue with people, even though you have no reason to actually argue. What didn't Courtney do? Oh, there's a lot Courtney didn't do that she should have done, like be a kind person to people, or apologize, you know? Anyway, back to the video.
At all about what she needed these people's voices for. Kayla says the person who provided the voiceover for the beginning of the video commented on a re-upload stating that KP had not told him what the video was going to be about and what she needed the audio for in the first place. She was completely out of the loop of whatever this was, and only accepted the offer because her and KP were mutuals. Obviously, it's probably a good idea to know.
Kyla says, good channel. Check out Kyla Says. Really got lost in the shuffle here, unfortunately, with this whole drama, and maybe better off. I think they want nothing to do with anything, but I recommend Kyla Says. Really good channel, talks a lot about like pop culture stuff. Has a video out right now about Jamie Lee Curtis that's really interesting. Take a look at it.
Know what you were working on before sending voice lines over, but this is still incredibly interesting, and unfortunately it can be backed up with actual proof from a different source. A small YouTuber known as StillDubs was contacted by KP to provide voices for the video as well, only StillDubs ended up declining the offer since KP wasn't in a position to pay them for their work apparently. Yep. Yes, a 120,000 sub YouTuber who's been on the platform for over 10 years can't be bothered to pay for a handful of lines. Like, holy shit, it would have been like $5-10 at most, but okay. Getting past that hurdle, Still dumped their DMs of KP on Twitter Twitter, and the entire conversation really shows how profoundly unprofessional she is, completely refusing to let Stell in on what is actually being covered and what she needs the voiceover, simply telling them she wants to do a funny voice and describing the video's content as spicy, continuing her complete lack of respect for the subject matter by treating it all like a massive joke and keeping VAs completely in the dark about what they're actually providing their voices for. Now,
Can confirm I was asked to do a really stupid, nasally annoying voice, which I find it funny that KP said, "Hey Anthony, you could do an annoying nasally voice, right?" Like, oh, thanks for thinking of me for this role here, KP. I can't imagine why you wanted to cast me in this particular perspective. Anyway, back to the video.
Not every VA used for the video has come out about it so far, at least to my knowledge, but this is a pretty concerning pattern. And then there's the matter of them just taking someone else's audio and using it without permission. Remember that god-awful Sonic fan dub reference she made about SaberSpark? Well, you may have noticed that it isn't the original audio from Snapcube, but instead an alternative dub of it from a different person. Now, given this video's use of voice actors, you would probably be under the impression this is someone she hired to do an unfunny skit. But no, it's actually a completely unrelated audio clip from Veggie BLT, where he did a full cosplay of Dr. Eggman while reciting the pissing on the moon bit from the Snapcube dub, and he was completely unaware and was not asked for permission. Now you may be wondering, what's the big deal? The entire point of making memes is recycling content into something new. Well, considering every other VA featured in this video was signed on to the project, some people are going to assume that this redub of an old Sonic video was made specifically for this video, and it's completely unfair on the creator of the audio given they're a much smaller channel and want nothing to do with this. Which begs the question of why the f didn't you just use the original Snapcube audio?
Yes,
that audio is iconic, everyone using the internet knows where it's from, and there would be no confusion. Why use a smaller creator's dubbed audio and make them feel uncomfortable being tied to a project like this when there is literally no difference between the two besides the completely different voices? Everything about this video is so unprofessional, it is blowing my mind. Alright, let's get into some other issues. This video was not supposed to be about SaberSpark. It was originally just supposed to be about DA Games. There have been allegations towards DA Games for a while now that just haven't hit most people's radar since not a lot of people know the full context and haven't been—
I still do not know anything about DA Games. They got lost in the shuffle in this story because everything became about Black Griffin. It all became about SaberSpark. If DA Games did anything, because no one ever talked about DA Games, like if he did something and he's just kind of floating out there, well, that's terrible. Like, no one knows this guy. I don't know who this. I mean, a lot of people know this guy. He's apparently a really big channel. I just don't know anyone online. I've come to realize. But like, this guy apparently got away with everything. No one talked. If any of the accusations are true, no one was talking about his accusations. He got completely lost in that discussion. And again, as Cartoon She says, they've been allegations about this guy for a while. Like, if he did something, that kind of sucks. That KP's video completely discredited any of the other accusations about him by association with her video. Completely lost in discussion. I forgot he was even involved in the original video, honestly. Because in hindsight, I kept thinking, oh, it's about the guy Chris, it's about SaberSpark, it's about Black Griffin. But no, this guy is a big chunk of it too. We just forgot about it. We forgot all about him. And I think it's kind of sad, honestly.
Been able to make videos about it. KP was originally making a massive expose on DA Games specifically, and it's why for the first hour or so of the video, it is just about DA Games with pretty much no mention of SaberSpark anywhere to be found. So why is SaberSpark here exactly? Well, since this video was premiered on YouTube, it actually has a live chat we can look at where KP admits that most of the video is fully completed before the SaberSpark allegations dropped, effectively confirming that she decided to sloppily attach SaberSpark's name and allegations to her DA Games exposed video for— what reason exactly? These are two very different situations and should be covered in their own separate videos. They have literally no relation to each other. The only factor I can think of is that both DA Games and SaberSpark knew and were friends with Black Griffin, someone who was also recently accused of terrible
Oh yeah, so I want to bring this up real quick right here. Lazy Bedhead's video has since been completely privated, I think. I don't think they deleted it. I think they privated it. At least unlisted it, but because it was a lot of the research was based on what Courtney, Pete, and KP were saying, and a lot of it was inaccurate. Up until the Beckett expose, no one had talked to anyone in DA and Black Griffin's circle in the drama community. So, do I think DA Games? I keep saying that by accident. Do I think Black Griffin is innocent of all wrongdoing? I don't know. I think he's a very weird guy. That's the thing. I think he's a really strange guy who's in some inappropriate stuff, but is it a crime? I don't know. I also don't particularly care. You know, I'm not a drama tuber. It's not my job to investigate this guy, you know? Because the people who are mainly pushing the story were people like Bonk, who pushed the story at a parasocial level. Or, arguably, I forget, what's Claire? Was that her name? Black Griffin's wife, who we met on Milo Pony. Potentially her father, who is the Ocean dub voice of Goku. Not Sean Shamel, who's the Funimation voice actor for Crunchyroll voice actor for Goku. The Ocean dub voice for Goku, who's also now Mr. Fantastic in Marvel Rivals, which is fascinating. But a lot of it apparently was pushed by him, supposedly, allegedly, according to what other people have claimed. I'm not claiming it, never claiming it once, but I know that other people have come to believe and theorized that a lot of the issues at play with Black Griffin, those stories might have been pushed initially, or at least in part, by a combination of Bunk and Claire's father. And Claire wants to be left alone. Yeah, Claire wants to be left alone. She's a fully grown woman. She's allowed to have her privacy. She's entitled to her privacy. Until such a time that Claire comes forward with an accusation about being groomed. Everything else is hearsay. He also voiced Rolf, yeah. So again, it's one of those things where it's like, do I think that Black Griffin's a very strange person? Yeah. Would I defend him? Probably not, because I think there's something very off-putting about this guy that I find personally distasteful. But until such a time there's an actual crime or an accusation being pushed by the victim of a crime and not someone like Bunk, who's a parasocial weirdo, I have no interest in commenting on it because it's not my job. Until such a time that a crime is happening or is pushed forward, if in 10 years from now Claire comes forward and says, yeah, I was groomed or whatever, that's a different conversation. But we don't have that. You need to have the person who was hurt come forward about the crime, or else all you're getting is hearsay. You know? It's not my business. I think Gabe's a weird guy, Black Griffin. I think he's a weird dude from what I've heard. But that's not a crime. That's just weird, you know? I find it very uncomfortable. But that's, again, not illegal, you know? So it's not my business. So I'm not going to bother making it my business. What is my business is KP's asinine behavior, because that does directly affect me and people around me and the YouTube community. Black Griffin being weird, that has nothing to do with anything that affects me personally. And until such a time that I feel like it is a crime that needs defense, I will never really discuss it in any meaningful way because I just don't see an actual crime. And no, not Gabe the DM. I'm so sorry, Gabe. I saw you in the comments. No, not you, Gabe. The Black Griffin Gabe. I'm sorry. Yeah, but again, all of this is pushed by KP, who took Bonk at face value and didn't question if Bonk, who is a weirdo who got famous on Twitter for role-playing really strange erotic fantasies of him involving the Milo Pony characters, many of whom were, Fulcon, is that the term they call it? Which is really strange to me. Again, just a creepy concept in my opinion. Really gross. His parasocial obsession with Claire was what pushed those accusations in the first place. It was all internet fandom gone amok. You know? There was no actual original source for anything that he said. Now, there are accusations of Gabe being really weird and creepy, and those are creepy and weird, and they should be discussed, but they're also not something that's relevant to this case, and therefore I won't discuss it. You know, it's that simple.
Also recently accused of...
Let me get some of these super chats playing, because I just realized I had them on pause all this time.
User 225 super chatted $1.99. Imagine trying to explain this drama to Tony Soprano.
Yeah, right? I can't imagine that.
Stingertopia super chatted $2. On even more minor scale, Johnny Razor, his was good.
There you go.
UGXGC super chatted $6.75. Back Griffin might be guilty of something. But all the expose things of him or PPL around him make it difficult to even find out the crime there.
Exactly. It's all these exposed videos that actually are based on hearsay. They're based on hearsay, mostly spread by just Bonk, one person. He's the main architect of most of the information we have, assuming the theory, unless the theory about Claire's dad, who is Ocean Dub's Goku, is real. I don't know. Again, that's a rumor. It's not a fact. It's only a rumor that people tell. So we're going to pause supers again. Wow, we have almost 900 people in our audience right now. If all of you can leave a like on this video or subscribe if you're not already subscribed, that'd be amazing. I really appreciate all that effort. Anyway, let's finish up Cartoon Cheese video and dive into the main event.
Terrible shit like grooming a minor. And while Griffon does play a decent part in both stories here, these situations are way too different to just be thrown together like this, not to mention the massive difference when it comes to the evidence here. I already said I wasn't going to go into the validity of the allegations themselves and just wanted to focus on how they were tackled, but it's so obvious this was originally a DA Games video, and Saber was just slapped into it last minute, because DA Games has a decent bit of evidence against him, whereas Saber currently only has a single twit longer. If KP actually cared about the allegations against Saber, they would wait until more information came out before publishing this video, or just leave the Saber stuff for its own entire video. Saber plays such a minuscule part in this video, by the way, yet he's the first name put in the title, he's in the thumbnail, and KP hyped up his inclusion for weeks. It's almost like Saber was haphazardly thrown into the video and marketed as the main focus purely for clicks, and not out of an actual sense of justice or care for the victim. It's
I have a different theory. Apparently, as Saber has said himself, KP, and as I've observed firsthand by knowing KP through communities, KP will often argue that people that she has had issues with have a crush on her and acts like as though there was some stilted lover of hers. I think this whole thing was kind of KP was attracted to SaberSpark and felt slighted by him and decided to get back at him a little bit. And that's kind of what SaberSpark thinks too, to an extent. It's very unfortunate.
clout chasing, and if it isn't, then it certainly comes off that way. And let's not forget, by the way, KP knew about the Saber allegations weeks before they went public. They went public the day this video came out, in fact. So she was just sitting on this information for weeks. And I say she was sitting on this information and not just putting it in the video because she provides no new evidence at all. She provides the victim's testimony, which is basically the extent of what's actually out there, and that's it. Saber should not have been a main focus of this video, and the fact this information wasn't made public for weeks while she proceeded to do fuck all to actually look into it for more evidence and justify its inclusion is really dodgy. KP, if the victims are actually telling the truth here about DA Games...
I've just described Backseater? I guess I might have. Backseater's a weird guy too, but I don't know, what are you gonna do? Yeah, she's not yandere, she's just petty is what it is.
And Saber, you have done a horrible job and have arguably put them in an even worse position. You know you don't exactly get second chances when it comes to covering serious allegations, right? The first shot is really your only shot, not because someone more competent can come in and set the record straight, but because the general public is fucking dumb. If you screw up the first expose on these people, then that's going to stick, and it's going to harm the credibility of the accusers through no fault of their own. If these people are telling the truth, you have failed these people, and I sincerely doubt any revisions you plan on making to this video when it gets re-uploaded are going to help. You are not in any position to cover subjects like this again, and no victim should ever trust you to spread awareness about their stories ever again. And let's not forget that Courtney, one of the people you had work on this video with you...
fucking Courtney. Okay. Get ready, because Courtney's going to be involved with the story when we get to the KP video proper. Courtney is, a real piece of work, too. Oh, Jesus.
Was spotted in the live chat arguing with and shaming CSA survivors who were not happy with the video's presentation, and how you turn this into a spectacle. If you have such blatant disrespect for the matter of sexual assault and predation that you need to treat your coverage of it as a complete joke, and then one of the people who helped work on this video with you is getting passive-aggressive with CSA survivors in the live chat, then how the fuck do you expect anyone to take you seriously ever again? Please, for your sake and the victims, do not cover situations like this again. I don't care that you're working on a revision for the video. Either you hand the topic off to someone who's more qualified, or you simply leave it alone. You had your shot and you blew it. There's some other things I could probably talk about, like how there's a random section about Lily Orchard in this video for literally no reason, or the fact that Chris Chan typed a message in the live chat and everyone thought that was just normal for some reason.
KP and Chris Chan have a long history together, I'll put it that way. KP is Chris Chan has for many years defended KP and supported KP publicly too. It's not a private thing. It's been public. But because for whatever reason, I think, let's see if I can find it. Yep, there is some, there are some discussions about KP and Chrisology, I'll put it that way. Anyway.
But that's basically all I have to talk about.
Oh, yeah, no. So, obviously, Chris Chan was in the MLP community and had a strong connection with KP. Really liked her videos. They would communicate, you know, all the time. Yeah, KP is the only brony analyst who will talk to Chris Chan, exactly. So that's the end. That's basically the end of the Cartoon Sheep video. And of course, the rest is history. A lot of it you already know. But the important stuff that I've just mentioned is relevant because that's mainly what's going to be discussed in ILoveKimPossibleALot's follow-up. You see, at the end of that video, you saw KP say that she's working on a follow-up. She's working on something to refine her point. And it turns out that video has come out today. Today is the day that KP has returned to the internet to bestow upon us what she spent the last 4 months working on. Her apology. The video is still up. Why, I have no earthly idea. I thought she deleted it by now, honestly. But it's time we called out KP's newest apology and be the first maybe to discuss this to the world and say why. KP, this should have stayed in drafts. But let's allow some supers to play in real quick before we get started.
Otterly Noah super chatted $10.
Hey, what's going on?
Funny enough, I just saw the anime men commented on my video covering their apology video, so I wonder if they, LL, do the same when you cover M. Their response is actually very chill, unlike KPLMAO.
I wouldn't be surprised. They seem pretty receptive to feedback, which is good.
Hato super chatted $2. Should I get the booze before you start apology?
Yes, now's the time to grab whether some libation of some kind. Or something else if you
Yokai
prefer
Lover
that.
699 super chatted $2. Chris Chan is Godwin's law of internet drama El Mao.
Exactly. He's always there. And thank you,
Alien
Shell.
Starless Child
sorry.
super chatted $2.71.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate all that.
Shell super chatted $1.
Yeah, the anime men, here's the thing about the anime men that I want to point out that's important. The anime men are professionals. You know, like, they're professionals making content. They have staff. They have production values. KP doesn't pay her editors. There's a very, and again, for the anime men, it's a business. It's a very consistent business. It's a model that requires PR. KP's an individual who thinks she can run a business but can't. So, yeah, if you want, listen, if you want a drink, get a drink. If you want something else, get that now, because now's the, well, actually, if you want something else, it might be a little too late to start, because you might kick in by the time we're done, but I digress. Now's the time to get cozy, because we're getting into the main event, people. This won't be a particularly long stream. I got a lot of editing to do later, but considering it's a very short video, I think that's fitting. So, everyone get ready. We're about to go deep into deep shit. Again, at this stage in time, SaberSpark has proven his innocence, DA Games has completely disappeared from the conversation, and Black Griffin has basically been, if not entirely exonerated, people are kind of like, realize that a lot of the anti-stuff against him has been pushed by Bonk in particular. But now's the time we talk about KP's video itself. I'm going to pause supers again. We are going to stop periodically. And again, I want to point out something else here. Throughout the last month, KP has been repeatedly talking to Beckett, Mr. Enter, and Lazy Bedhead over these topics. The main... Oh, and Phineas, too. I don't want to forget Phineas's role. Phineas had a lot of involvement in this as well. Phineas is a really cool person. Check Phineas out. But in all cases, KP has always been about saving her own ass, making herself look best. Courtney Pete has refused to even once apologize for anything that she did, including argue with assault survivors in the live chat, the premiere chat of the video. And in fact, it has become apparent also that Lio Convoy, who somehow came out the best in all the situation, actually told KP not to publish this video. That is important to note as well. I won't give Lio Convoy many things, but I'll give him that. So, let's jump into the story.
This video discusses sensitive topics, including grooming, power dynamics, and online harassment. Viewer discretion is advised. 18+ content warning. Do not harass anyone discussed in this video. Hi, everyone.
Do not harass anyone in the video, despite the fact you made a hit piece about multiple people involved in this video. As you'll see, situation's a little different here.
Everyone, welcome to the video. For those who don't know me, I'm the YouTuber ILoveKimPossible.ALot, which is a very long name, but I'm known as KP on online spaces. I mostly do Disney and cartoon and media analysis, but we aren't here for that today. Today we're here to talk.
This is a really bad JPEG. It's actually really pixelated. And look at this. This is like a really bad... This is actually really terrible. It's actually like really of poor quality compared to everything else. Like look at the... Look how sharp this looks. It's very sharp. It's obviously like screen grabbed and shrunken down. This is like blown out. You can see the pixel lines right here. It's really terrible. Take a closer look. It's really rough. Anyway, back to this.
To do Disney and cartoon and media analysis, but we aren't here for that today. Today we're here to talk about another video I did recently that didn't go over so well. The video was intended to be a conversation about problematic behaviors in online spaces, community safety, especially concerning children, and my own experiences regarding certain YouTubers and content creators named in this video. However, even...
Oh, was it now, KP? It was about community safety. It wasn't about you shoving an accusation about someone that you hadn't vetted into the middle of your video filled with jokes and comments about gags and all that. It wasn't about you misleading your voice actors and telling them that they were reading just lines out of context, was it? Again, she wants to frame her hit piece as just a discussion about community guidelines and how to be proper about how to build safe communities, people online, you know? Just being, listen, KP wasn't, trying to hurt people. She was trying to build a community, a safe community at that. Well, I'm sure that worked out fine, didn't it, KP?
The best of intentions can go awry, and it's safe to say that mine certainly did, causing unintended harm and confusion in a situation where clarity and resources are paramount.
Okay, want to point this out right now. She's framing it like it was the best of intentions. I was just trying to do a good job. And I guess I made a mistake. Yeah. So, at what point was editing the statement from someone you believe to be a survivor of assault, when was that a part of it? Because that's what you did. Courtney Pete and you took Emu Emmy's statement and edited it to make it sound more scandalous. Was that educational? Was that meant to be educational? To make it sound more violent? To actually talk about things that were maybe destructive? Like dismissing the idea of informed consent or implied consent in a relationship? Muddying the waters there? Was that for community guidelines?
The video in question went live on my channel in May earlier this year. being removed within hours of upload since I understood the message did not come off as what I intended. I haven't yet spoken on the issue publicly, choosing to take time and space to be able to address legitimate concerns of the video with a clear head and level emotions.
That is also untrue. You did talk publicly about it. You interviewed Beckett multiple times. You spoke to them multiple times. You had recordings of yourself talking to them multiple times. You did talk publicly about it. What are you talking about? This is not your first statement about the video. But I guess maybe she wants to hide the fact that she sent threatening voicemails to Emu Emmy about talking about this topic. You know, maybe she wants to cover that up a little bit. Who knows? All right, let me play some supers real quick. I think we have one or two.
Boball super chatted $2. I don't know what the hell is happening, but Ty.
Yeah, no one really does.
Cinder the Deer super chatted $5. Even when apologizing, the Ransona still needs its arms crossed.
That you do. Good Ransonas have their arms crossed.
Stingertopia super chatted $5. Safety, yeah right. Best case scenario, highly unlikely, she was being beyond scummy and idiotic. Worst case scenario, she is both and a coward.
Exactly. She's being very scummy about this. She was being scummy to her talent. If she was really about community safety, she would have told the people who were working with her what was going on, and she wouldn't be asking for stupid voices along the way. That's the reality of it. If she actually cared about community safety, she would have actually engaged in community safety. There'd be none of this cloak and dagger bullshit she pulled. She would have been upfront about everything. But she wasn't because she wasn't. Simple facts. And say nothing of the private stuff she did to her editors or bullying like small fans like Hato. You know, that's bullshit. It's absolutely bullshit. There's no community that they could have had to back them up, but she bullied them anyway. I think KP has done worse for community safety than anyone else in this story has. You know? Anyway, back to this. Gonna pause alerts, and we're going to get back to this real quick.
For those of you who still have no idea what I'm talking about, earlier this year I released a video about the online actions of DA Games associates Chris Deficiados and Will Ryan, another YouTuber named Steven, or SaberSpark, and the association between them that creates a dangerous space for minors to occupy, including
all different images that she posted real rapid fire, meant to imply that there's some serious thing that she was talking about and not, you know, edgy jokes done privately. And, of course, a joke made about her. Now, Chris? I don't know Chris. I don't know nothing about Chris. Chris could be a terrible person, you know? I don't know. I don't really care either. Because the story wasn't really about Chris. It was about KP throwing accusations and trying to get a guy fired for jokes. I think that's really rough. And granted, maybe he should have been fired. I don't know. But I'm also not his employer, you know? And neither's KP for that matter. You're allowed to tell a company, hey, your employee did something really inappropriate and you should look into it. And it's up to that employer to take action as they see fit. SaberSpark did that. KP messaged SaberSpark about Chris, who was working for Chris. I think still is working for Chris this time. And what ends up happening is SaberSpark looks into the situation. Chris answers apologetically and truthfully. And Saber's like, well, okay, I think you have the potential to change, so I'm not going to take action this time. But, you know, he was critical, but he wasn't. But he believed in the power of change and took Chris to believe that he can make a better decisions in the future. Which that's just how it is, you know? That's how it is. I hope the wedding goes well, Hato, by the way. I really hope it does. I'm rooting for you in that one. That sounds like a lot of fun. Having been through wedding planning, it's a whole experience. Chris made a lot of edgy jokes. Do I think that's right? I don't know. It's not my place to say that. I think jokes are jokes, you know? I think I'm very much like an absolutist when it comes to like making jokes and all that. Like, even if I find your joke distasteful, I don't believe in attacking someone on a personal level over them. As long as they're not as long as I'm not doing something like doxing or like directly harassing and attacking someone, a joke is a joke. I kind of, if it's a bad joke, I dismiss it, I don't like it, but I'll criticize it, but I'm not going to tell their job on them like a tattletale. It's a tattletale. But Kim wanted Chris fired. She didn't want SaberSpark to do his due diligence as an employer. She wanted him fired. And so that wasn't enough for her. That's what it is. She did everything that she could do, or even really should do. Saber looked into it and made his decision as the employer. And then that's it. That's where it ends. But KP was bitter about it and wanted to run an expose to attack Chris. And granted, Chris did some screwed up stuff. He is not innocent in this story of what he's accused of doing, which is telling a deeply inappropriate joke that was about KP that could count as harassment. It is not good what he told. But it was also years ago. Like, it was years prior to being employed by Saber. And, you know, he looked into it. What do you fucking want? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. So let's keep going.
In the video was my own testimony of interactions with Steven, as well as third-party testimony of additional interactions with Steven. The third-party testimony includes accusations of SA from a person named Emily, accusations I platformed on a video that in hindsight wasn't suited for testimony that heavy. Some other notable issues that were—
Hang on. In hindsight, it wasn't suited for something that heavy. That's your takeaway. That you put these accusations that you later found out, by this point you know were false, in the video, and they were just too heavy for that topic. That's what you think was the problem. It was too upsetting. And not, you know, they were unvetted accusations that you yourself edited with Courtney to make sound more scandalous. And Emu Emmy, who you knew was Emu Emmy, has a long history of just plain lying to people for clout. She has a massive reputation for being manipulative. It's just her history at this point. The moment you look it up and say, oh, it's Emu Emmy who said it, you gotta kind of question yourself a little bit. But you didn't do that because you didn't look up the person who came forward to you. And you know who the person was when you first received the accusations. You should have done your due diligence and looked up who she was. And again, the fact is that we now know she was presenting misleading information. Either she completely lied or her memory of it was scrambled. We really don't know for sure, but we know that in any case, it was a false accusation. We have physical proof it was a false accusation. So, you know that. You know that now. Why upload the video but hide that fact?
were pointed out about my video was the tone. The general consensus was that the tone throughout the video was jokey and that I came across as making light of some serious accusations and conversations, as well as my—
Okay, here we go. She's now talking about the jokes. Let's see if she takes accountability and says they were inappropriate, ill-timed, and I shouldn't have done them. I want to hear the words, I should not have made these jokes. It made light of a serious situation. I want to hear those words specifically. Let's see if she says them. Chat, do you think she says them? Let's find out.
My social media postings leading up to the release of the video. My postings came across as bragging, clout chasing, and once again, that I was making light of a serious situation. I'd like to firstly apologize for anyone who was hurt by my tone, both throughout—
I'm sorry you were offended. That's her first response. Not, I'm sorry I made the jokes. I'm sorry you were hurt by them. Let's keep going.
The video and on my socials. My joking and memeing was contained to my own experiences as I deal with my own trauma that way. I make dark jokes and make light of my own situations, something I didn't realize was not universal and might come off as if the tone pertained to anyone's experiences that weren't my own. And I do want people to understand that it was directed at my own experiences, but I'm sorry that it didn't translate properly.
They weren't, though. You were making Seinfeld jokes about, like, for grooming children. They weren't about your experiences. They weren't at your expense. You were making extensive Seinfeld jokes, making fun of the people you were targeting to make them look ridiculous and to make them look like child groomers. This is a spin. This is a huge spin where she's saying, no, I was just making jokes because I deal with trauma lightly. You know, I have a dark sense of humor. I guess you guys didn't have one too. I'm sorry you were offended, but you know, that's just how I deal with trauma. You know, I'm sorry. I can't be held accountable. I'm just dealing with it. It's my coping mechanism. Give me a fucking break. Okay, listen. I love dark humor. But even Mr. Enter and Lazy took your argument before you even made it and said, listen, it's not about humor. The jokes weren't the problem. It was the kind of jokes you use. One of my favorite directors is John Waters. The guy makes jokes about the most horrendous, dirty stuff possible. And they're very funny. Because he knows how to tell a good joke. Is the first thing. But the second thing is, you weren't making jokes at your own expense. You weren't making jokes to lighten the tension. You were making jokes to make the targets of your ire look ridiculous. You were making jokes. You ever listen to the podcast, The Last Podcast on the Left? The Last Podcast on the Left has a lot of really dark jokes about true crime. But what they do are the jokes are often at the expense of the vile people they're criticizing. They don't tend to make jokes about the victims of crimes. They don't make jokes about the horrible events themselves. They'll make jokes to lighten the mood after they tell something really awful to make it more palpable. But usually the humor is at the expense of either the hosts themselves or of the awful people they're criticizing to make them look ridiculous because they are terrible people who shouldn't be seen as legitimately terrifying. To make them look pathetic rather than make them look like something else. Your Seinfeld jokes did not do that. They made the act of grooming itself look like a joke. You treated the crime as the joke, as opposed to treating the person committing the crime as a joke. And you did it not because you wanted to show to your audience these people are nothing special, but because you yourself wanted to bully them because they did not bend to what you wanted. And the fact that most of the targets of your joke didn't actually commit a crime makes it look petulant and manipulative of the highest order. Like your framing of the incident is, my apologies, is petulant and manipulative of the highest order. Let's play some super chats real quick.
Errand Alpha Eagle super chatted $7.06.
Thank you.
If only the video and she herself were being deep, too.
Yeah, right? Wouldn't that be great? There's no depth to this.
Low Country Matt super chatted $2. Let's play traffic accidents after the stream, JK.
Let's not do that.
Nick Wolf super chatted $2. KP. I'm Ju a Whittle GRL and it's my birthday, UWU.
Ooh, basically, right?
Adrian Parkman super chatted $1.99. Family Guy level kind of jokes.
Yeah, exactly, right? Oh yeah. Oh, hey Dane, I'll probably hook this. I'll probably do that thing where it's like it links back to your stream after this. But no, yeah, it's absolute bullshit. Is what it is. And she's just a widow girl. She can't do anything. You know, she's just an innocent person. She didn't do anything wrong. She's doing everything right. Give me a break. I have a hard time with that level of nonsense. Oh, yep, we got a super chat coming in.
Hotto super chatted $2.
Thank you.
The audacity, I'm gonna crash out, bro.
Right? It's infuriating.
Stingertopia super chatted $20.
Wow, thank you so much.
Dark humor is like food. Not everyone gets it. Not, I'm a pedo, or you're a pedo. People don't understand humor must have a punchline besides shock if you want a really good joke and not a mistake.
100%. Dark humor isn't just shocking, it's funny. You know, again, John Waters. Watch John Waters. John Waters is the master of dark humor that's still really shocking despite being 50 years old in some cases. Like, there's some bits of Pink Flamingos that are still, like, really upsetting, like, really disturbing, but it's still really funny in a sick kind of way, you know? I remember that, what's his name? Toby Hooper with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Thought it was a dark comedy, but it was too shocking.
Low Country Matt super chatted $2. By the way, that was a female trouble joke.
Yes, I do love female trouble. That's a good movie. Oh, Olivia Williams, thank you for dark humor. There's the Scathing Atheist podcast. Yeah, there you go. Anyway, back to the video.
Another thing
that right there was a oh god, I've enlarged the screen. Go away. That was a what's his name? Oh, last drive-in joke right there.
I'd like to personally address is Courtney Pete and their treatment of another CSA survivor in the live.
Okay, let's see this. Now, I want to remind you all that Courtney Pete helped co-write the video with KP, helped work on the video with KP, defended the video when it came out with KP, and KP was very happy to use Courtney to attack me when I made a comment she thought she didn't like. Courtney has been KP's personal lapdog for the last several months. Let's see how KP's treats her most loyal companion of the last few months.
I've chatted the video premiere. I've spoken to both Courtney and the affected individual, apologized on Courtney's behalf, and going forward, since she doesn't want to apologize herself, I'm cutting public ties with her. While I can't control the actions of another grown individual, I can control how and if she is associated with my work and channel.
Threw her under the bus. Oh, it's not my fault, it's Courtney's fault. Courtney made all the bad things. It wasn't me that helped rewrite Emmy's statement. It was all Courtney. It wasn't my fault everything went wrong in the video. Everything bad that happened, it's Courtney's fault now. And I'm cutting ties with Courtney because they are no good. They're bad. You used Courtney as an attack dog for months against every single person who was critical of you. And they did it to the letter because you played them like a fucking fiddle. And the moment Courtney is bad for your public image, the moment that you can't use Courtney to your benefit, you throw her to the wolves. Jesus, that is soulless. But I'm not surprised. Hell, I told Courtney months ago this would happen to her. And then she told me to go fuck her myself. So, what are you going to do? Shark Jumping Walrus, thank you for being a member for 9 months. Yeah, no. I told Courtney this would happen to her months ago. At the moment she was no longer useful, they'd toss her aside. But I was delusional. I was the one that was wrong. Goes to show what I know. Back to some super chats real quick. Thank you, member Sharp Jumping Walrus, for 9 months.
Nick Wolf super chatted $2. Bus nothin' under the isekai truck coon.
Exactly. The moment you're no longer useful, bam, gone. That's how Courtney treats her friends. The moment Lily Orchard was not beneficial to her career anymore, she releases a massive expose about Lily Orchard. And that was already after Courtney had released her initial accusations that Lily had assaulted her. This is years of bullshit that KP signed off on, that she co-signed on. But the moment Lily was getting a little too much bad heat for her, under the dumpster she goes. That's how KP operates. She's best friends with you until such a time that she can dump all the blame on. When videos that she worked with editors on didn't turn out right, she'd blame her editors for it. Another super chat coming in.
Starbit super chatted $3.62. Cutting public ties with Courtney. $10 this bites KP in the butt down the line.
Well, since this video is now being viewed more than her original video is, I'm sure it will be preserved, and we will have an account to make sure that Courtney is no longer tied up with KP, but KP has probably just made Courtney her big enemy, so it's going to go on forever now.
Stingertopia super chatted $5. Lots of YouTubers like her need English and ethics classes to be retaught.
Oh, she needs more than English classes because she doesn't write any of her scripts. Oh, that's right. She also doesn't write her scripts. Do you know that? She has staff who does that for her. Yeah. KP doesn't write her scripts. She doesn't edit her videos. She doesn't do anything. What does she do with her videos? More of a producer role, I guess.
Scorpion Wolf super chatted $5. I feel like socializing is just sink or swim. Either you succeed, or just be a terminally online failure or worse, a sociopath like KP and Lily.
Seems that way sometimes. I mean, honestly.
Bernard super chatted $2. This is some borderline supervillain shit.
Oh, Wave. Actually, yeah, no, KP does... She has a specific charge for all staff. It's the same price she pays. Nothing. She pays nothing for any of it. Her writers, her editors, her artists, nothing. It's all volunteer work. It's nothing. She expects them to do all the work for her on her channel, which, by the way, I think is monetized, for no profit. So there you go. That's how it is. Nothing.
Errand Alpha Eagle super chatted $7.05. Oh, it's all Courtney's fault. And she has no self-awareness that they're both to blame.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. No self-awareness at all. She doesn't even once stop to consider how she was accountable for her own actions. Not even for a microsecond. Oh yeah, she's monetized, but doesn't pay anyone anything. Yeah, no, there you go. And they do all the work. She does nothing but read the scripts. And maybe come up with an idea. When I collaborated with her, do you know how much writing she did on the video script? I wrote half a script for both of us. And I was waiting for her to contribute. Nothing. Not a thing. Not even a little thing. Nothing. Yeah. So there you go. Anyway, back to this.
Now I'd like to take some time to go over my original intentions of the video. The conversation I wanted to start and the messages that fell short. Steven, or SaberSpark, employs an editor by the name of Chris, who owns a Discord server. Chris is also employed by Will, who owns the DA Games Discord server. There are a lot of names to keep track of, I know. Will has a passive posting pornographic, racist, incestuous, and anti-Semitic content in both his and Chris's servers. His own server, the DA Games server, having children as young as 11, maybe younger, with access to these posts. Not only do children as young as 11 have access to this content, but there are also children as young as 12 given mod status. The same server also has a man accused of and arrested of child grooming. This is Will's own views on how children should be interacted with online.
5 and 12 years actually 26. Let me tell you, she just has happened and will never happen. Will happen if you log on the server, but in life itself, it's not about age. It's about level of maturity. About the abusers who call out about the fact this mod is 12 and you call the mod out to be 2. Have you fucking seen who I am? I'm 24 and still act young enough to be in school. Again, I have no doubt that Will's a creepy guy. I've heard lots of bad things about Will, but this isn't about Will. It's about you trying to slander SaberSpark. The moment you put a fake accusation of assault against SaberSpark, none of this crap mattered. Yeah, Will's a creep. I'm not defending him. I hear he's a DA Games. That's Will, right? Yeah, DA Games sucks. He's a terrible person, from what I understand. And yeah, there's a lot of accusations, but you didn't come forward with those information. Other people have. Accusations about DA games have existed way before your video came out, and other people had brought them up. So you're just echoing what other people had said. These aren't even your accusations. And again, it's incredibly important to note that not a single person watching your video had an issue with you criticizing DA games. No one. No one had an issue with this. All of this was brought to light by other people, and you echoed it because you wanted fluff, basically, to get back at DA Games because he didn't fire the guy who made a sex joke about you. And again, what Saber has nothing to do with what Will said. Yeah, Will's a creep. I'll say that. Based on this, he's a creep. And no one has disproven what you're showing right now. He's a creep. Yeah, I'll say it. And a lot of other people have said it too. But the thing is about DA Games is that that's not the story of your video. The story of your video is you try to get a guy fired because of a personal grudge you had against him and attacked both of his employers to get him fired. That's the story. All of this is a petty grudge against one person, and you targeted two bigger creators to do so. One had accusations against him that you just echoed. The other, you published a fake accusation to discredit him.
With some 12-year-olds are more mature than some 40-year-olds. I'd like to point out that this is groomer mentality. This is the same sort of language used to make a child feel special and grown up when receiving inappropriate attention from grown people online or off. Now,
okay, but that's a stretch. I'm not saying that DA Games has or hasn't groomed anyone. I don't know anything about DA Games enough to say that. I know there are accusations against him because of virtue of the controversy around your video. And I know that the stuff you are referencing, other people brought to light first. However, unless someone says they were groomed by DA Games, you can't make that accusation. Not yet. You have to have the person come forward about being groomed to start a true investigation. But again, you're preaching to the choir. No one's arguing that DA Games isn't a creep. Everyone seems pretty clearly... Yeah. So, like, again, that's the problem. The conversation is not about DA Games. No one cares about your perspective of DA Games. They care about the SaberSpark stuff. That's the part that actually matters here.
not to mention that Discord's own terms of service state that the users must be 13 to even be on the platform, terms Will and Chris seem to be happy to help children break. How and why does this pertain to Steven?
Yeah, good question. Because that's the only part people wanted to talk about, because you levied an assault allegation against SaberSpark. That turned out to not be true. And it's at this point, again, I want to remind you, the allegation is false. We know it is not accurate anymore. Saber has provided evidence to punch holes in it enough that it's sufficiently impossible for the accusations as they were originally written to have happened. And Emu Emmy has retracted her statement originally because she realizes that they were things she had forgotten. She claims it's due to memory issues. And even when they are written messages from Emu Emmy that confirm what she is saying currently does not reflect the reality of the situation as it occurred, she cites memory issues. Emu Emmy, in the best possible interpretation of the information, is an unreliable narrator of the events. She cannot trust her own memories to give her an accurate perspective of what happened, and her own words at the time she completely forgot ever saying. She did not frame it as though I was afraid and I said the wrong thing. No, she completely has no memory of writing these messages, as she puts it. And this is directly what she said to Beckett, Mr. Enter, Lazy Bedhead, Phineas, the whole crew of them. At best, Emu Emmy is an unreliable source of information, and at worst, she's a liar. I will not say which is which. I have my theories, but that is not for me to say. And yes, that is the same Emu Emmy who had the affair with the Sonic voice actor and destroyed his marriage as a result, but I digress.
Well, frankly, I see an issue with the content creator employing someone who directly contributes to inappropriate interactions with children online by providing a space where it's normalized, welcome, and defended. I see an even bigger issue when that content creator has a history of posturing himself against child predators as being the voice that calls them out, but is fine to employ people who do this very thing he himself has condemned in the past.
Jesus Christ. Okay. Chris made a joke about you. You are conflating Chris with the things Will, the DA Games guy, said all on his own. Hell, aren't you friends with Lio Convoy? He said much worse than any of the stuff you just showed right now. Jesus Christ. Let's face some super chats real quick.
Bekwa I'm bored super chatted $2.
I love typos.
You collabed with KP?
There was an attempt. It did not go anywhere because KP did none of the work.
Errand Alpha Eagle super chatted $7.05. Not to mention advertised the expose on SaberSpark like a public event, when only 5% of the video was about SaberSpark.
Precisely, yeah. She kind of glossed over that, didn't she?
UGXGC super chatted $2.70, starting a conversion with the worst accusations.
100%. Oh, wow.
Stingertopia super chatted $50.
Thank you so much. Wow.
Her video reminds me of predator catchers who just assault and expose the preds without the then useless. They are actively harming any actual justice. Like you said, saddens me to see what people will do and say to make a buck or get views.
You know, funny thing about that, look at her friend Lio Convoy's history of predator hunting. You'll see there's a connection there.
Blue Bow 501 super chatted $1.99. Gaslight gatekeep, avoid all responsibility, boss.
Exactly. Throw everyone else under the bus for your problems.
Otto Johnny super chatted $10. Just got here, what did I miss?
Well, KP threw Courtney under the bus for her problems. She's trying to pin aficionado Chris for all of DA Games' inappropriate behavior on Discord, and is implying SaberSpark co-signs all of this because, of course, she does. She has not learned anything at all from any of the experiences she's had so far.
Bekwa I'm bored super chatted $2. She just wanted repeat the success of her Lily vid.
Exactly. That's all she wanted to do, because the Lily vid worked. You know why the Lily vid worked? It was focused on the key components of discussion. Lily being awful. And she got Lily recorded directly. That helped a lot. But here, not so much. Anyway, back to this.
And it isn't as if Steven has no idea that this was going on under his nose. I myself had reached out to him directly and through at least 2 different people to look into the issue and do something about it. Despite
No, okay. You're lying. You sent SaberSpark information about Chris telling a joke about an event at a convention years ago. These messages were not about what you just showed with DA Games. Those are a separate thing. What you asked him about was whether or not he was going to fire Chris for making a joke about you specifically at a convention years ago. A joke he privately apologized to you about and said it was in poor taste, this, that, and the third. This is extremely manipulative. You are outright lying about the context of these messages. The messages were about Chris. They were not about DA Games and his bullshit. The way you're framing this, you're making it so that it sounds like... Again, if you looked at your exact words written on a transcript, maybe they would sound somewhat... Maybe it wouldn't be technically a lie. But the way you presented the information visually shows us extremely inappropriate images and extremely inappropriate material, and it's conflated to make us think these two things are connected, but they are not. This is extremely manipulative behavior for someone who was already caught lying multiple times already.
My repeated efforts to bring this issue to his attention, Steven never spoke to me or commented on the issue. Meanwhile,
he did though. He contacted you. You showed the messages in the previous video.
He was supposedly talking to someone else about the same issue with a third party. Not to mention the fact that Chris himself has admitted to and bragged about a little sex crime that Steven brushed off as a sex joke. It should also...
That was Chris's comment, though. Chris made that sex joke about you. And Saber talked to Chris about it, said it was inappropriate, but said he thought that he could change and grow. Saber did not make those jokes that you are now implying through either your poor articulation of the point or your misleading editing that Saber co-signed off of. Because Saber, in his apology video, says the jokes were in poor taste as well. The only issue that you had was that Saber did not fire Chris for jokes made years before his employment to him. Verbally.
Also be noted that in all of Steven's responses to the allegations, he has still not spoken on, condemned, or cut ties with Chris, Will, or DA Games. And once again, for someone who not very long ago had plenty to say on whether Gabriel Brown was or wasn't a groomer, that child predation online is terrible, and he himself has been abused as a child, it seems odd that he has nothing to say about his own employees' child predation, even to condemn it.
Child predation? Chris didn't do anything like that. He made a joke about you when you were both adults. Was it inappropriate and harassment? Absolutely. Was it bad? 100%. But to imply that it's child predation is extremely, extremely in poor taste. That is a lie. Based on your own statements in your prior video, it is a contradiction of the highest order. You are stumbling over your points and conflating things done by different people together. Let's play some super chats real quick.
Yamitai super chatted $5. Just work up to find out I don't have to go to work tomorrow tax.
Nice!
Oh gods, why is KP back?
Because she wants to dig a deeper grave for herself, apparently.
Now super chatted $5. First time catching you live.
Oh, thank you.
Love your work.
Thank you.
Enjoy my birthday money. Not much,
thank you so much.
but I hope it helps.
No, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Happy birthday. Hope you have a good hope you have a good birthday. Oh, Jesus. But I'm sorry you're watching this video on your birthday. This sucks. This video sucks. Anyway. Jesus Christ, we're only halfway through. Let's keep going. Oh, wait a minute.
The Lord Yato super chatted $1.99, sparing a bit of change.
Thank you so much. Yeah, no, her Discord has not been rated yet. I was a part of her Discord briefly, and then she kicked me out after I mentioned we work on a project she didn't help on.
Alone him excusing masturbation onto a stranger's clothes, a biohazard, and sexual harassment as a joke. And now on to Emily. In regards to Emily's testimony and accusations against Steven, she has released her own video that will be linked in the comments, and I encourage people to go watch it and hear her story from her own mouth. While I don't regret believing someone, I do understand that I wasn't the best equipped to be the person breaking a story like that to the public for the first time.
That's your problem, that you weren't the right person to break the story. Not that the story was false, that it was a lie, or misleading. Not that people felt they were being lied to by Emily to their face. Multiple investigators in this case felt that Emu Emmy was lying right to their face about events that happened. Why aren't you saying Saber was exonerated? Why are you not saying there were holes pushed in the story? That both Beckett and Mr. Enter both feel that Saber's exonerated. That Lizzie felt they're exonerated. I mean, you wanted Lazy's voice in your video before. Why not reference her again? Them again. I think Lazy was he, they, right? Her, they. He, they, her. I think Lazy used all pronouns. Yeah, you're being deliberately manipulative of the information. You're hiding the fact. You're so eager to conflate everything that DA Games did with both Chris and SaberSpark, but you're so hesitant to admit that Emu Emmy retracted her statement initially. But no, you're just not the right person to come up with the accusations. You're not the right person to do an expose. Well, no shit. You're an MLP YouTuber. You're a cartoon critic. Okay, she, her, and they, them. Perfect. Excellent. Your niche is animation. You don't see me doing predator hunting bullshit because I know it's out of my lane. I don't do that stuff because it's not my job. It's not my responsibility. I'm not equipped to do that properly. You know what I'm saying? I am a media critic. That's why I don't cover Lily Orchard's allegations, because it's not my lane. Other people, it's their lane. It's June the King's lane. That's what he should do. I don't do that stuff because it's not my lane. I'm not the expert. I know my niche, and I stick to my niche. And I do my niche as well as possible. It's lagging. The stream's lagging. Hope everything's good. Is it going well right now? It looks like the quality's good. Okay, cool. Might be your internet, maybe. I don't know. That's strange.
Came to other people's coverage of the situation, whether or not they had spoken to me in person, a lot of my intent with the video and what I chose to platform in it was assumed. Concerns to me that are still much legitimate were and continue to be brushed off as clout chasing or jealous woman scorn mentality. People who have never spoken to me or heard my side of anything spoke with absolute authority.
People who never spoke to you. Psy Scribbles. KP, you were on Psy's server the entire time. Never spoke to him, never spoke to Psy before. Don't fucking lie. We both were in Psy's server at the same time. We know don't pretend you never spoke to Psy when it's convenient for you. So that's another person you threw under the bus. You were happy to promote in Psy's server every single video you put out. You were so eager to promote everything there to an audience you thought you can tap. But now that it's inconvenient to you, you're like, no, I never knew Psy. What a fucking liar. I can't speak for the other two. I can't speak to Internet Adjacent or that kid Douglas, but you're such a fucking liar. You guys are on streams together. You manipulative little person. Oh, let's let some super chats play because this is just too fucking rich.
User 225 super chatted $1.99. Ant doesn't hunt preds, but you cooked Lily alive.
Thank you. And there we go. Right there we go.
Psy super chatted $5. Girl would tell anyone who didn't want to listen that SaberSpark had a sexual interest in her.
Yep. Yeah, she did. What? Jesus. It's like, you can't make this crap up. You really can't.
Stingertopia super chatted $5.
You liar.
Exposed vids feel like spam 60% of them, about minor issues 20%, about actual crimes 20%.
And even then, the actual crimes are usually pretty minor, usually. These exposés are never serious. Well, some are.
Josh does a thing super chatted $5. I've never talked with Psy, actually talked with Psy. Oh, this is getting juicy.
Such a liar. Yeah, this is just lies. Like, this isn't even like good lie. You spent this long working on this apology video and you're coming up with obvious lies? Jesus. Yeah, you asked Sai to be in that video, same as me. You directly messaged Sai to be in your video. And hell, you told Sai more than you told me, and more than Kyla says, and more than Lazy Bedhead. What a fucking liar. What a goddamn liar.
Lelia, Bug, super chatted $5. I remember watching a stream where Sai, KP, and Courtney had a discussion about Lorch. That lying little RATTTTT.
Yeah, that was goddamn Malcolm stream, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Wow. What a liar. Pretending you never talked to Sai? Jesus. Okay, let's keep going. Pausing supers real quick.
Already on my intentions and desires, and people who did spacing or jealous woman scorn mentality. People who have never spoken to me or heard my side of anything spoke with absolute authority on my intentions and desires, and people who did speak to me in person painted our conversations in a different light when presented.
Oh, Mr. Enter. Okay, so let's go back here. So people who did talk to you, like Mr. Enter and Cartoon She, apparently.
And people who did speak to me in person painted our conversations in a...
So they painted her. So what happened was Mr. Enter just misled people. Like, he completely lied about KP's actual statements. I'm going to let Sai's super chat play too real quick. 1 sec.
Sai super chatted $5. I didn't do the voice lines cause she said it was for exposing AS pest.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she told you it was for a sex pest. She gave you more information than the rest of us. Still, what bullshit? What actual bullshit? Wow. Okay, so here's the thing. I did listen to this video beforehand, but I let it play in my car. Like, I was driving home from my day job and I let the video play out to see if there's anything good in here. And I heard there was some good stuff. So I wasn't actually looking at the visuals, because I'm driving, obviously. I'm not going to look at the visuals. I'm going to let the audio play. So I didn't realize Sai was, that's funny. That's funny. Okay.
A different light when presenting them to her own respective audiences.
So you're saying that Mr. Enter lied. You're accusing Mr. Enter, the mysterious Mr. Enter, who posted his entire interviews with everyone. You're saying he lied. So here's a little bit of a bias. I actually did help Mr. Enter very briefly with some of the stuff. I sent him some info I had. Some of it was useful, some of it wasn't. I think Beckett had more use for what I sent than Mr. Enter, but I digress. I still sent what I knew his way. The guy didn't leave any details he needed out. Everything that was needed, he included. You were calling Mr. Enter and Cartoonchi a liar, even though Cartoonchi doesn't cite you at all, as in terms of a direct, Mr. Cartoonchi, which we just saw, does not quote you in an interview. He quotes your posts and your video itself, but he doesn't actually cite any interview he had with you. So KP is throwing Sai in the bus saying, I never knew her, and you're saying Mr. Enter lied. Her apology, people. Her apology. Let's go down the count. It's all Courtney's fault. I'm sorry if you're offended by my dark joke, but that's how I roll, teehee. Everyone committed the worst crimes I mentioned, and Sai and Mr. Enter lied about me. She has not apologized for anything in a meaningful capacity, especially not spreading a false allegation. A provenly false allegation.
This led to a good number of people speaking down to me, harassing me, and sending me death threats largely based on the assumption that I was a bitter, jealous, stupid woman targeting an innocent, successful, intelligent man for the sin of not dating me. To which I'd like to respond by saying, Steven, I'm just not that into you.
You tried to destroy his entire career, you asshole. It's not about necessarily, it's not about you being bitter over a date. You spread a story you didn't vet to destroy his career and his marriage and his livelihood and to slander him to millions of people, and you're only sorry it didn't work. You're not sorry that you got anything wrong. You're sorry you didn't succeed. No one cares that you wanted to date SaberSpark or whatever. No one gives a crap about that. What happens is you spread a story that was proven to be demonstrably false that you yourself edited before it went on air. That's the problem. You took something that you believed to be an accusation, you didn't vet it, you didn't check it in your sources, and then you posted it. But no, you didn't post it. I lied to you just now, because what you really did was you went and rewrote half of it and then posted it to make it more scandalous. That's all been proven. All of that's been proven. Not a single thing I just said is a lie. You can look it up on Beckett's videos, or you can look it up on Mr. Enter's videos. It's all cited there because all the DMs are online. You sang like a canary to save your own skin, and they took that info and posted it live. Not a single thing was hidden because you sang like a canary to save your own skin, and you threw Emily and you threw Courtney under the bus to do so. Let's let the Super Chats play.
Terminal Sanity super chatted $2. I'm sorry I trusted other people isn't an apology.
Yeah, seriously, it's really not.
Kippy super chatted $5. This is a rough time for me to also be a Rachel that goes by KP pensive face.
That's funny. Yeah, bad time. Bad time.
JJW Mason super chatted $5. Really cool OKP to celebrate your 100k subscribers by giving you this goofy video to criticize.
Right? It's a great gift. I'm happy about it. Got a massive people, a lot of people watching. Wow.
Stingertopia super chatted $2. Geez, Collins was crazy, but WTH is this crap.
Seriously, seriously. If everyone watching can give this video a like, it would really be a big help to the channel. We just crossed 100,000 subscribers. This is certainly a video to celebrate, considering it's all the usual suspects I've dealt with for the last 2 years, but I digress. Jesus. Okay, let's keep going.
The same brush was used to paint over Emily's accusations and intentions, with even less people speaking to Emily herself. More can be learned about her experiences in the video linked below. Stephen Howard.
Mr. Enter, Lazy, and Phineas interviewed Emily for 3 hours. The entire video is online. Watch the interview with her, and then watch the video with Beckett that he did with SaberSpark afterwards to see all the holes punched in that story afterwards. The video Lazy Bedhead put out afterwards, too, I think is worth watching, because they felt like personal betrayal from it. Like, you can see the hurt in their eyes as they're talking about, like, just being lied to your face by someone else. Like, because either Emily lied or she forgot. But either way, she's not telling an accurate depiction of the truth. Because, Jesus. This is, again, if you want to watch an apology, the Anime Men did a video. Very professional apology to their video. Very controversial apology. Very controversial video. But they didn't double down. They took accountability of their actions. This? Anyway. Let me play some chats real quick.
Andreas Werbel CH super chatted $10.
Thank you.
It's a good thing I didn't bet money on what her response would be, since I would have guessed she'd pull a Sienna May and release some interpretive dance as a response.
Oh, she certainly did, and she's just doubled down. That's all she did. She couldn't account for her own behavior. She couldn't apologize for what she said. She had to do this. That's all she knows. All she knows is how to be vindictive and mean. And that's it. It's funny. People were joking. People were upset when I said KP's a bully. She's a high school bully. That's all she is. And there's a stream that Lio Convoy did afterwards saying, oh, KP's a bully. She's bullying people. No, that's all she is. That's all she is. She's a petty little high school bully who didn't grow up. The only problem now is that the people she bullied in high school have a bigger platform than she does because they're not assholes. They're not assholes to their staff. They pay the people who work with them because they respect the time of others. Oh, I'm going to get this. I got to play the super chat.
User 225 super chatted $1.99. Aunt, would you date KP? Yes, I'm trying to get you cancelled.
Not on your life. Never. Never, never, never. And that's all she is. She's a petty little catty bully. And that's it. That's all she is. And she's dug enough of a grave for herself now with this apology. But let's see what she gets to dig herself next 4 minutes.
Was given grace, room to respond, and direct personal support from the same people claiming to be an objective voice of reason throughout the situation. When given his own testimony on the accusations leveled against him, his own lapses in memory are not painted as proof of malicious lie. His own incorrect recollection of events, as proved by the screenshots he himself provided, are not painted as proof of a malicious lie.
I mean, you say you pulled away from her for the next 2 months, but I mean, because I've seen your DMs with her. Yep. So if you pulled away from her, I mean, it wouldn't be for months, Saber.
Not months. I would say. I mean, I'd say November. No, I'm sorry. You're right. I'm getting my the increments wrong. But it was. I would say for the rest of November.
His own admission of trying to.
It's funny that you're taking such specific elements out of context. Like, yeah, SaberSpark, the thing you're recalling from a decade ago didn't exactly line up perfectly with what you recalled initially. Yeah, because people don't recall events perfectly, like, a decade later. The reason SaberSpark's statements are taken more seriously is because SaberSpark offered receipts. Any issues that were there were contradictions between the story he recounted a decade later and of the texts themselves. And Beckett, again, to his credit, held him accountable for that. You can say a lot. I know a lot of people have various opinions on Beckett and his work. You can't call him anything short of thorough. The guy worked his ass off to come up with a perfect timeline of events, to outline what happened, along with Mr. Enter with his video outlining video footage that Saber had on hand. You can say whatever you want about both of them, and you might be valid with your critiques. Who's to say? But the one thing you cannot say is that either of them are lazy. You cannot call Lazy Bedhead lazy either, despite their name, because they also worked their ass off with their videos. All three of them, and also Phineas, who was there the entire time and deserves credit too. He's often undersung, but I think we should cite Phineas as a good source too, because he was in all the interviews, he's in all that. All of them worked their ass off to produce a perfect timeline of events. So, you cannot say anything but that they were incredibly critical. They held SaberSpark to his word. And yet, when you look at all the information, not second clips out of context, Saber's story holds out. Because he had receipts from the time they happened. He had to dig up a dead phone to prove what he was saying, for the most part, is accurate. With a couple exceptions of the timeline that it's just time, people forget details. He backed up his claims. What did you back up, KP? What, an accusation that you didn't vet? That turned out to be wrong? Let's play some supers real quick.
The Lord Yato super chatted $1.99. Leo only didn't approve cause he's also a bully.
That's also true, but that's another story for another day.
Bekwa say I'm bored super chatted $5. Fake accusations are shitty because it makes people think it happens more often than it does and therefore not believe victims.
It muddies the water just terribly, I agree.
Cassie Hosh super chatted 93 cents. The way she's not only doubling down and throwing people under the bus. This is Blair I Illuminati all over again. but actually worse.
I don't know if it's worse than Illuminati. Illuminati is pretty terrible.
Josh does a thing super chatted $5.
But it's bad.
He spent hundreds of dollars to recover those texts. That says something to me.
Yeah, he put monetary effort into clearing his name. And he succeeded. That's the thing. This is one of those cases where someone was definitively falsely accused. Yeah, it's just a false accusation. Maybe there's more to the story than appears, but the story as initially reported is impossible to compromise with the hard evidence. The facts just don't line up. And KP could have done a modicum of research. Mr. Enter found holes in the story within a day of having the information in front of him. Basic information. Hell, it turned out that one of the conventions that Emily cited didn't even happen when she said it happened. Happened in a different year. You know? So the facts just don't line up. That's simple.
Force a woman to take a pregnancy test against her will is not seen as a violation of consent, privacy, and bodily autonomy, but instead as a horrible event. He was made a victim as a violation of consent.
Hang on. Let's go back a second here.
Consent, privacy, and bodily trying to force
My the increments wrong, but it was.
Here's
it
where
would
things
say
get
for the rest of November.
really screwed
his
up.
own admission of trying to force a woman to take a pregnancy test against her will is not seen as a violation of consent, privacy, and bodily autonomy, but instead as a horrible event he was made a victim of by the girl he had targeted.
Into the convention on a Sunday. I remember going over to her hotel, being like, I'm like, we have to get this test. Like, I need to know the answer before I head home, so I can know what's going on. I got the pregnancy test, came back, and I'm like, please, can you take this? And she goes, okay, you know, because it was time's up, and she said, okay, I'll do it. And she took it, and it was negative. And I remember afterwards, I was like almost dumbstruck with relief. At that point, I started forming this opinion in my head where I'm like, did she just baby scare me to keep me in her life? That was the emotion surging through my head, along with relief.
Admissions of being
KP, what the fuck are you talking about? Forced her to take a pregnancy test. What's worse? Saying to someone who says they might be pregnant or missed a period, hey, can you take a pregnancy test? I gotta know so we know for sure what's going on. Or someone saying, hey, I'm on birth control, and then it turns out, oh, actually I might be pregnant. Potentially lying about being on birth control. Your own evidence just contradicted what you said. You are trying to frame SaberSpark, even now, as an abuser, as an assaulter of Emily. This isn't just bad journalism. This is actually slander of the highest order. Because KP was involved with Beckett's video, with Mr. Enter's video, with Lazy Bedhead's video, with all that. She was involved every step of the way with the actual investigating of the situation, with the facts of the case. And even then, her takeaway is to take a clip out of context, and even out of context, it not support the claim she's saying that Saber forced Emily to take a pregnancy test. You know, urinating on a test. That's like saying, hey, can you take a COVID test for me? You know, in fact, the pregnancy test is less invasive than the COVID test. And even then, all Saber said was, hey, can you take this, please? I gotta know. And then she agreed to it. What do you think Saber's doing? Like, freaking shoving the pregnancy test over there? No. What kind of manipulative language are you pulling here? Especially when all of us who have been following the case have heard every new bit of information as it comes out and can fact check you. You spent 3 or 4 months working on this 10-minute response? Beckett in this time put out 4 or 5 hours of content deconstructing your mess. Mr. Enter did the same thing. Lazy did the same thing. Let's take some chats play real quick.
Otto Johnny super chatted $2. Saber should sue KP.
At this point, he probably should, yeah. This is malicious damage.
Group the Caveman super chatted $5. Hey Ant, genuine question. What's the timeline in question you're saying 3 people made? I don't know that bit of the lore.
Okay.
ID appreciate the context.
No, that's a fair question. So, KP puts out an original video, I think sometime in May, I'm pretty sure it was, like the beginning of May. And from there, what happens is you get 2 different groups making videos. You get Mr. Enter, who's working with Lazy Bedhead and Phineas to make his expose. And he's also accepting open feedback. And you got Beckett, who's also working on it. Now, I was in contact with both groups of people to varying extents. Beckett actually cites some of my feedback in his first video at the very least, because we talked a little bit about this and the third thing about it. Beckett's video came out first. I think it came out like 2 weeks after, or 3 weeks after the original expose comes out. But before, I'm sorry, I missed a step. Between Beckett's expose and the original video, Saber releases a statement arguing that KP is maliciously sharing information. Opblock's in here. Yeah, you're gonna, dude. This fucking video is wild, man. It's so full of shit.
User 225 super chatted $1.99. No slander would be saying KP ruined blondes for me.
Valid. Okay, so Beckett puts out his video first, then Mr. Enter puts out his. Beckett's video is very thorough, interviewing every single person involved, including KP, and releasing DMs, releasing private coordinations, but he says he talked to Saber but did not release information about Saber yet. And I had known beforehand too, because he told me, he spoke to Saber, and Saber told him some stuff off the record. Now, this stuff that was off the record would eventually come out in a later video, but hold off on that. Then Mr. Enter puts out his video, where he interviewed everyone involved. He interviewed Emmy, he interviews KP, he interviews everyone, and comes up with a timeline of the events as they occurred at the convention where allegedly the assault happened, and proves that the timeline as originally written by the original accusation just doesn't make much sense. There's a lot of inconsistency there. Not that it's impossible, but that it just doesn't make logical sense. From there, Emmy did a few different interviews. She talked this and the third. But then 2 more videos came out. Mr. Enter made a follow-up video, and Beckett made a follow-up video. I think Beckett's follow-up came first, where he releases discussions about SaberSpark, where SaberSpark's texts come forward and completely contradict
Bekwa say I'm bored super chatted $2. Kim Possible wouldn't do this.
Exactly.
Azarias Daniels super chatted $5.
Right here.
Everybody wants to be Lois Lane, but end up being J. Jonah Jameson rewriting the Reynolds pamphlet.
100%. They all want to be the big name in the house, but then they screw up. That's what it is. But yeah, no. So the timeline made no sense. Mr. Enter declared the case closed and SaberSpark exonerated. Beckett felt confident enough to put out a video definitively saying that he believed SaberSpark did no wrongdoing. And even Emmy then released a video where she retracted at least part of her statement. And Beckett was the one who argued that Emmy might not be lying, but might simply be forgetting the events as they occurred for one reason or another. He's the one who first reported an idea of there being lapses in Emmy's memory. Lazy then put out a video, again, Lazy, who was a part of Mr. Enter's investigation along with Phineas, where they kind of said a few things, specifically their grievances against Courtney and Bonk heavily, but also how she felt lied to by Emmy, that she was always skeptical of Emily's story, but in hindsight, she wanted to believe that this person wasn't lying. And then hearing being in an interview with Emily for like 3 hours, and then hearing about SaberSpark's text, it felt like a slap in her face. It felt like she was just backhanded across the face by Emmy in her story. But she was also the one who argued that Claire's father, who's the voice actor for Goku in the Ocean dub, might have something more to do with it than not. But again, that's Lazy's theory. I want to emphasize that. That's Lazy's potential theory. I do not know if I believe it, because Bonk is a very parasocial person. But it's not a theory without evidence to it. I will say that. But again, it's a theory. It's not even an allegation. It's a theory that has very little concrete evidence to back it up.
Where he was accused of being and when are not painted as plausibility that what he is accused of is true. Instead is painted as proof that he's telling the truth and the accused victim is lying for clout. For objective...
The text messages prove that Emily was not telling a truthful version of events. The text messages. The tangible evidence that counteract everything Emily said was proof that SaberSpark is not lying. Especially considering the text messages frame Emily as the one pursuing Saber, not the other way around. In fact, the text messages show Saber's discomfort with the situation, whereas Emily keeps pushing for more interaction. So let's get that all taken care of, all right?
Coverage of what was supposed to be a serious situation, there seems to be a lot of sweeping for Steven. Standards that myself and Emily were and continue to be held to are not standards that he needs to meet. So moving forward, how can we, as the online community, do better? What changes can...
Emily's held to the same standards everyone was involved with. What are you talking about? You're held to the exact same standards Saber's held to. The difference is Emily, at best, has some serious issues that she needs to work on regarding her ability to, focusing on her cognitive ability. Meanwhile, you are highly manipulative. Even in this video, you are not presenting facts. You are presenting a scrambling of events that it's somehow even more scrambled than your hour-and-a-half-long nonsense video. KP's receipts are not only tangled, they're extremely misleading, with heavy details missing that we can, from a third party, verify you left out. And the third party is even your own video. The evidence you provide in this video is contradictory to the story you presented in your first video that you have since deleted.
Can we make to improve child safety or our fandom spaces? What kind of conversations should we be having? How about power dynamics and fandom spaces and the people that abuse them? Creators turning their fan bases into dating pools? Grooming behaviors passed off as normal internet interactions? These were the kinds of...
What does any of that have to do with anything we were just talking about? What does any of that have to do with what's going on? Do you just want to get sued? Is that what you want, Rachel? Do you want to get sued? Because that's how you get sued. Like, Rachel, you're as old as I am. You have to know this can get you sued. Like actually sued. You're not just committing slander. You're not just reporting on someone else's allegation. You're doubling down after evidence has been provided proving that it's not accurate information anymore. I'm not saying it was wrong for you to fall for it, though I do think it's irresponsible of you to promote information you haven't vetted yourself personally. But you now know more. You were involved in every step of the investigations that you're ignoring and misleading. You were involved in all of it. You are a knowing participant of that information, and you are still providing this information? Dude, you're gonna get sued. And you know what? You deserve it, frankly, at this point. You had chances to completely go back. You had chances to remedy the situation. You could have said, hey, I was wrong. I posted information that was not accurate. I retracted information. I apologize to all harmed parties. That would be the smart thing to do, to prove you have no malicious intent involved. It was just an error on your part. That could have been the good thing to do. Instead, you completely doubled down on a story that you were involved in the investigation of disproving. You know for a fact there are holes in Emily's story, and now you are framing it so that you can argue there's no holes. No, I'm sorry. At this point, hey, whatever happens to you next happens to you. You had a chance to apologize. If Saber wants to pursue legal damages, which if he finds a way of proving that you would damage his reputation, if you damaged business deals, if you damaged partnerships, if you damaged average view count of videos that he can correlate to your direct involvement in that video, you are now on the hook for a lot of money in damages. And even if you settle, that's still a lot of money. The only thing that could help you is the fact that no one cares what you have to say beyond laughing at you. That is your only saving grace, that you are such an irresponsible person that people cannot take you as a reputable source any longer. That your reputation is so burned by your own bad behavior that not a single soul on this planet with informed knowledge of you could ever take what you have to say seriously. And that mitigates the damages you could do to Saber. That is your sole salvation in this situation. That you have burned so many bridges, ruined your reputation so thoroughly that not a single person involved could take you seriously. And the reason I know that's possible is because that's why Lily Orchard has not been sued yet by anyone else. Because at this point in time, no one takes her seriously. And it's shocking how quickly you devolved to that level after earning so much goodwill with your initial expose about Lily. And look, we still have a few minutes, we still have a little bit more, over a minute left. Let's see how much more you can dig your reputation deeper with this.
Conversations I was intending to spark with my last video. This was my intent. And with the end of the video, I'd like to close off with a note about accountability. Throughout the whole ordeal, I have seen a lot of people attributing my lack of response to mean a lack of accountability, that I was avoiding the controversy and that I was trying to erase or ignore it. Something I invite the audience to think about is what accountability is,
what it looks
like, and what it isn't. Someone jumping to respond as soon as possible or through as many avenues as possible is not indicative of taking accountability. Especially if that response is to victimize/murder yourself in the face of accusations and criticism. True accountability is stating whether or not you did something on its face, regardless of any intentions or effect, and without excusing yourself or attacking the accuser. Example, I made the original video. It was bad, and I understand that. Jumping to dismiss
You don't understand that, though. You just don't. You threw Courtney under the bus for your video being bad. You said, "Oh, I have dark humor, tee-hee. That's how I deal with pain." That's what. You didn't address anything wrong with the video. In fact, you reiterated what your video said and did it badly a second time. You didn't take any accountability for your actions, which is to say, you spread a story maliciously about someone else to ruin their reputation, and you didn't vet your sources, you didn't dot your T's and cross your I's, whatever it is you're supposed to say. You doubled down on a story you now know has holes in it. And to save yourself, when you reiterated it, you twisted the facts and ignored the details that don't help your conclusion to look like a better person. You didn't take a single ounce of accountability.
Someone is cloud chasing and trying to justify why what happened isn't the word they're using is not accountability. It's obfuscation and defense. And you didn't need to defend something that didn't happen. Anyway, this was heavy. I'd like to thank everyone who stuck it out this far, as well as a special thanks to my fans who allowed me the space to respond before forming an opinion about my intent. In the meantime, I've tried to be positive and I'm working on something that is not YouTube adjacent, and maybe I can share it with you someday. Maybe not, we'll see. Anyway, this is my dog Toby. He's a little man and he likes to wear outfits. Decompress with him and thanks for sticking around.
Okay, the dog's cute. I'll give you that. What did we learn here, everyone? What did we actually learn? That KP cannot take accountability of anything. Let's let some super chats play with the dog is here.
Biolonic super chatted $4.99. If there was a guidebook to avoid getting sued for slander, KP just committed to doing the opposite of everything outlined.
100%. How can someone be this stupid? I can't believe it.
Goat Cato super chatted $5. Is she vindicated or cooked?
Excessively cooked. She's a charcoal steak.
Stingertopia super chatted $20.
Thank you so much.
She's obviously to blame. At the same time, YT needs to get its act together, as it directly makes people able to make money and fame off of this type and other terrible types of content. She's bad and YT keeps it profitable.
Hey, look. She's not profitable, though. She really isn't. She's making very little money off of this.
SAWESOMENESS. Super chatted $2.
Thank you.
Hey, Aunt, what's up?
Not much, life. What are you going to do? Almost having a kid soon. Yeah, KP learned nothing. KP learned not a damn thing. Say what you will about the anime men. Their apology actually hit the notes that need to hit. They've taken accountability for their video. Which, by the way, their video never threatened the career of another YouTuber. The worst you can say about the Anime Men's video is it was cringe and bad. But at no point did their bad takes in anime threaten the livelihood of an entire small business.
User 225 super chatted $1.99. What if this gives KP a role in next Spider-Verse?
That'd be terrifying. Wait, who's gonna ban the Watkins guy? I don't know who Watkins is. Who's Watkins?
The Wave Runners super chatted $5.
Hey, Wave.
One of the most brutal insults I've gotten back in the day editing in the Brony community was, I hope you end up editing for KP.
Jesus Christ. That's fucking rough, man. Yeah, no, Wave has had years of experience in editing in communities and all that. Yeah, KP is infamous among editors, apparently, as you've put it.
Cassie Hosh super chatted 93 cents. Arrived late to the party as per usual. College is killing me. But
rough.
The dog seems to be the only thing good in all of this tomfoolery.
The dog is innocent. The dog did nothing wrong. This dog is a good dog. This dog is a good dog. So, no bad mouthing the dog. Dog's great. In fact, let's go to another picture of the dog. Here you go. This dog's the only good thing in the story so far. KP. Also, I'm convinced KP edited this herself because this picture is terrible. Like, it's really badly pixelated. And compare the dog right here, which is perfect, to KP's pixelated out of focus image. It's very clear. But yeah, no. So she sucks. But her biggest punishment is being herself. Again, she deleted that one video, but look at her views. Look at her views. Her videos are tiny and short. And as a result of that, don't get a lot of retention there. And frankly, outside of her Lily Orchard video, none of her videos are all that successful. And for a little spice of fun at the end, let's hear about her favorite Pokemon.
Pokemon maybe at age 8. I had a Pokemon-themed birthday party at 10 years old. Woo! I had the cards, but didn't know how to use them. It's like war, right? The biggest number wins.
And there's only war. Abandon reason! No!
I'm so glad that she used the same jokes in her Pokemon video as she does in the accusation video. And they're all bad jokes.
Only war!
And I thought I was going to run off and be a Pokemon trainer at 10. That didn't work out. Now,
wait.
I'm a YouTuber.
Ooh, self-burn. Those are...
Now, again, with Pokemon, there's a lot of Pokemon YouTubers out there. And I know several. Cessa Lily, for example, who is a good Lily, aside from the other good Lily, and opposed to the bad Lily, does a lot of really good Pokemon videos. She was doing one about Black 2 and White 2 before, actually. She was doing a stream of that. I did a Pokemon-related stream with Skitty Bitty at one point, who themselves is, in fact, a plush. Skitty Bitty, they are a good plush, and it's really good. Yeah, I know good Pokemon YouTubers. They're thorough. They have a great knowledge of the game. They know more than I do, by a mile. I'm a fan of Pokemon, but I'm not an expert by any means. They're the experts. I'm a fan, but they're the experts. But let's see what KP says are her favorite Pokemon. Because again, she's a masterful cartoon critic. She knows everything.
Time Lord Rick super chatted $5. The only thing she was ever good for was shitpost MLP reviews, and once DWK showed up, she was replaced.
Exactly. Let's skip to her first favorite Pokemon. Let's see what her 10th. It's a countdown video, so we can jump around a little bit.
Who's that Pokemon? It's Snorlax!
There's a lot
Okay, so
of
Snorlax.
reasons
Okay.
I like Snorlax. Sleeping is also my favorite hobby too. He kicks ass when he cares. Plus, he can shoot hyper beams out of his eyes like Cyclops from X-Men. He weighs over 1,000 pounds, bro, or whatever the British equivalent to that is. He apparently becomes the strongest Pokemon in G2. He can maybe even beat Mewtwo through the power of sleeping. Basically, he's unkillable because he can sleep and also regain HP. That's how the game works, I guess. His first appearance was in episode 41 called Wake Up Snorlax. Other reasons I like him. He reminds me of Totoro, and have you seen the Snorlax bean shares that they sell?
I have that. Yeah, I do. That seems weird, right? That doesn't seem like a big fan of Pokemon would talk about. It's like that. You know, it's like Snorlax, Hyper Beam. That's what he's known for. Hyper Beam. I don't know.
It's Rhyhorn!
Interesting.
I don't know, this guy kind of reminds me of a big puppy. He's big, he's round, he's gray. He's a better version of the Tesla. Fun fact, Rhyhorn is credited as the first Pokemon that was designed.
Rhyhorn. Rhyhorn is the first Pokemon designed.
I mean, look at it. You can ride it around. There's a pink one. It's great. Its first appearance was in episode 30.
You know, I'm starting to see why her channel went downhill, actually. Yeah, Rhydon is the... Anyway. Yeah, Rhydon was the first, yeah. Yeah, my apologies. I was in the second evolution of it. My apologies. It's been a long day. My brain cells are dying from this nonsense. You see why this is a weird list, right? Like, what's your favorite? Let's just skip ahead.
So that's it for my top 10 favorite. Nice. Until he goes through Charmander puberty.
That's why say I'm bored.
Can you see the
Super
dragon
chatted
slash
$2. Granted, Tepig is my fav due to nostalgia.
Yeah, no. So her favorite is Charmander? Yeah, Charmander. Basic taste. Basic. And by the way, spoiler alert, they're all Gen 1. Dragonite. So Charmander, Dragonite, Charizard, Mewtwo. Yeah. Basic. Basic taste. All Gen 1. And she doesn't give any actual citation from the games. Just the anime. So very casual fan.
SAWESOMENESS. Super chatted $2. Bullshit. Everyone knows Cyndaquil is the best one.
No. I'll be honest. I'm actually something of a Chikorita fan. I will defend Chikorita a little bit. Not my favorite. My favorite's Gengar. Cubone's up there. Tepig
Adrian
Alcalon,
Parkman
actually.
super
Greninja's
chatted
excellent. Love Greninja.
$1.99. My favorite Pokemon is Trubbish.
Trubbish, Trubbish I got a lot of crap for shitting on, but I like Trubbish enough.
The Wave Runners super chatted $5. Gonna shout out my buddy Wombu's top 30 favorite Pokemon. He has a lot of interesting reasons for his choices, including personal stories.
You see, that's a good perspective. You should have some personal anecdotes about it, not the superficial bullshit that KP
Lazy
has.
Bones Inc. super chatted $4.99. What do you think will happen first? KP gets sued or deletes her channel?
I think she's getting sued, honestly. At this point, with that video, she's getting sued. Sorry.
Stingertopia super chatted $2. Don't remember much about Pokemon, but Acorn fav.
I do love the Acorns. Oh, Lugia is another great one. I actually like Latios a lot, too, in terms of legendaries. I don't know. When I was a kid, my mom drew a Latios that she put on the wall, like a decal of Latios. It was really cool.
Cassie Hosh super chatted $1.87. Cecily Lee and Lorch are like that one meme of a guy walking a patch and one side is darkness and one is light. In the trans women named Lily, Patch Lorch is the dark and Cecily Lee is the light.
I think Cecily Lee is fantastic. We're trying to collaborate on a project coming up soon, which would be really cool.
DK Domo super chatted $2. Gengar Gang. I have a Gengar tat.
Gengar is great. I love Gengar. Gengar is fantastic. Anyway, I am going to shut the stream down a little early, if only because my spouse is heavily pregnant and I do not want to be streaming in case
It's
she gives
West
birth.
super chatted $5. I love Kim Possible a lot. More like I dodge accountability a lot. I'll be here all week, ladies and gentlemen. Also, Jolteon on top.
Not my favorite evolution, Jolteon. I would say my favorite evolution is actually Umbreon, personally. I love the dark angle to it, but of the original, Vaporeon's pretty cool. I know the joke about Vaporeon, so we'll...
Time Lord Rick super chatted $2. No Torkoal, no Tropius, no Mudsdale, shit list.
Agreed. It's all basic taste. Basic, superficial taste. Glaceon. Glaceon's great, too. I love the design for Glaceon. Not a fan of Leafeon, though, which is interesting. I like grass types, typically. I usually choose grass starters in games. Sylveon is also great, but I think Sylveon is the favorite of most trans Pokemon players, I've noticed, because the colors are the trans flag. So, anyway, that's it for right now. Friday's video is in the works. It's not complete, but it will be soon. A video about YouTuber apologies. So you will be seeing echoes of KP's apology here, and I'm going to make sure it's there because I've already saved the video and I'm going to use it as part of the video, which is why it's not done yet. I'll be talking about a bunch of different topics as well. But I really want to thank all of you for coming on and watching. Thank you for having if you haven't joined yet, subscribe, what have you. I really appreciate it.
Group the Caveman super chatted $5. Good call. You covered what you needed to cover, so it's wise not to bloat the live stream.
Agreed. I'm up some nights until 1 a.m. with these live streams. You know, I'd rather spend a little time with my spouse before we have the baby, let it rest a little bit, and get some editing done later on in the evening. So thank you, everyone, for showing up. Thank you so much for coming. And as always, look forward to Friday's video. It's coming sooner than later. Don't you worry about it. Well, have a good one. Bye-bye, everyone.